Here I am showing 12 commission members in now. So I think we are ready to go if you want to start recording.
Okay, I've already started the recording. Just let me know when you're ready for roll call.
Okay. So good afternoon. We have a busy agenda ahead and some publishers ready to go. It's starting at 2:15. So we're going to start quick introductions with roll call, and then I'll introduce the publisher so we can try to catch up on the time that we've lost. So Dr. Fair, if you can do roll call.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Please respond when I call your name. Commissioner Laura Austin.
Commissioner Austin, present.
Commissioner Jody Ray Autry.
Commissioner Autry, present.
Commissioner Catherine Bailey. Commissioner Ricky Baldwin.
Commissioner Baldwin, present.
Commissioner Marlena Blue.
Commissioner Blue, present.
Commissioner Megan Kennedy. Commissioner William Cheshire. Commissioner Edward Coggins.
Commissioner Coggins, present.
Commissioner Missy Ellenberger. Commissioner Shannon Everhart. Commissioner Angela Flowers. Commissioner Aubrey Gadet.
Gadet, present.
Commissioner Dawn Hester. Commissioner Hannah Jimenez.
Commissioner Jimenez, present.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker, present.
Commissioner Randall Marcosia. Commissioner Mallory Imbalia.
Commissioner Imbalia, present.
Commissioner Elisa McLean.
Commissioner McLean, present.
Commissioner Susan Mills. Commissioner Rob Orrell.
Commissioner Orrell, present.
Commissioner Michelle Perry. Commissioner Alicia Ray.
Commissioner Ray, present.
And Commissioner Lindsay Seiss.
Commissioner Seiss, present.
All right, Commissioner Linker, I'm counting 13 commissioners present.
Wonderful. So again, it's nice to see everyone's faces, even though we're virtual. We have new members, and so welcome to the new members. We're going to cover a lot of information in the next day or two. If you have any questions at the end, there's always going to be a time for Q&A. Please take advantage of that time. And any question that you might have, I can assure you somebody else probably has the same question, and you're probably asking it for multiple people. With that said, for our agenda today, we start with our publishers' presentations. And so the first one would start at 2:15, and we need to make welcome Carnegie Learning. Presenters Katie Ruff, Dr. Fair, I'm not seeing her in the attendees, but they do have about 2 minutes before. Oh, there's here. I see her. So what when we get to 1 minute left, I'll just give you a quick reminder so you kind of have an idea of time. And whenever you're ready, we are ready to hear what you have for us.
Great. I'm just working on trying to share my screen. All right, are you all able to see my screen okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you so much. My name is Katie Ruff. I'm from Carnegie Learning, and I just want to say thank you for all of you for being here today and for welcoming me. I appreciate your committee's time in reviewing the programs that we've submitted. Those include Applied Anatomy and Physiology and the Carnegie Learning North Carolina Integrated Math Solutions. So I'd like to introduce you to Carnegie Learning's North Carolina Integrated Math Solution. The components of our Carnegie Learning North Carolina Math Solution will include a consumable student edition, a consumable North Carolina supplement that will focus on North Carolina specific content, and our Mathia software. All of these components are available digitally on MyCL. Carnegie Learning's integrated courses 1, 2, and 3 align to the North Carolina Integrated 1, 2, and 3. Your reviewers are going to use the reviewer guide to help with their online review. They will access correlations that are similar to this, and they're going to find citations from the textbook, the North Carolina supplement, and the Mathia software. The Carnegie Learning North Carolina High School Math Solution seamlessly integrates collaborative group instruction with individualized, personalized learning through the consumable textbook and the adaptive software. This multi-layered approach to blended learning ensures that each student learns math in a way that builds collaboration and critical thinking skills and pushes them to really achieve conceptual understanding as part of a community and on their own. Our write-in textbooks, those are our consumable textbook or our ebook, will provide opportunities for students to explain their reasoning as they construct and interpret mathematical models. By engaging with a variety of real-world examples and mathematical problems, students are able to really build on prior knowledge and intuition as they develop conceptual understanding and procedural fluency. The second part of our blended solution, that's our Mathia software. So our Mathia software platform really emulates a supportive one-on-one tutoring experience with continuous formative assessment and just-in-time hints. Model tracing technology not only adapts the learning experience based on the student's correct and incorrect answers, but also on the specific skills and strategies that he or she uses to solve the problems. Our teacher resources include Google Slides for every lesson, facilitation notes to support implementation, PDF lesson resources, assessments, and performance tasks, and all of these resources are available print and digitally through MyCL. Teachers are able to create assessments or use the ready-made assessments in Edulastic. These question types will include things like drag and drop, multiple select, and graphing options, so students will be able to see those throughout the year in a digital platform. Our assessments are also, again, available in PDF form, but Edulastic is a great test generator. As a teacher, they will also have access to reports from the Mathia software. So teachers can see how students are performing in real time, and they can provide just-in-time remediation and instruction through the utilization of Live Lab as their students work in Mathia. Live Lab will point a teacher's attention to the 3 or 4 students that really need their support the most, and then they can interact, they can intervene in real time as students are working in the software. Other reports in our Mathia software are going to include progress monitoring, skills reports, predictive analytics for each student in the classroom, and even a North Carolina standards report where teachers can view how students are doing relative to the standards that have been assigned to them. So when you begin the review and teachers are beginning the review, we have provided a reviewer's guide and a video walkthrough in order to support your process. I want to take a moment and just thank you very much for your thorough review of our Carnegie Learning North Carolina Integrated Mathematics series.
And you have 1 minute left.
That is all I have for you today. So unless Muffet, I know Muffet was on too, if there's anything that she wanted to share. All right, sounds like that's it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. The next publishers would be CEV Multimedia, Clayton Franklin. And you've got a few minutes before we start if you want to go on and try to get your presentation pulled up.
Can you hear me? Oh, now the share button's working. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
So if you're ready to present, or if you will tell me when you're ready, then I'll start the time. I have that you have 15 minutes, and I will give you a 1-minute warning.
Okay, do you hear me okay?
I do.
Okay, perfect. I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, well, let's get started.
Perfect. Well, thanks everyone for being here today and for reviewing. I know it's going to be a busy week, and I know it's taking time out of your busy schedule, and so we appreciate you doing that. Just a little bit of background information on CEV. We have been a part of Career and Technical Education Publishing since 1984. We started out as a supplemental company, if you will, creating digital resources for classrooms. In 2001, we did start to participate in the instructional materials reviews and adoption processes across the United States. In fact, we've been through the North Carolina process a couple of times. As I mentioned, our product is a little bit different from a traditional textbook. All of our content is either video-based or slide-based. It's now in an online subscription-based platform, but not online in the sense that it's meant to replace the instructor. It's just an online resource for teachers. And we do have all of the elements of a traditional textbook, if you will, in terms of learning outcomes, assessments, projects, activities, vocabulary, all of those types of things. It's just that it's delivered online as a resource for the teachers. What I wanted to talk about specifically is what the reviewers will get and hopefully help with the review of the product, because it is a little bit different than that traditional textbook. So this was the official sample. What I have pulled up here is actually for the individual or individuals that will be reviewing the Entrepreneurship course that we have to offer. And so you'll see that we have created a landing page here with some information that should help with that review process, and that it also gives the login information for those individuals that would be reviewing that Entrepreneurship course. Regardless of what course the individual is reviewing, that review process will be the same. So all of our online content is organized in the same way from a functionality standpoint. Just of course, the course content will be relative to that particular subject area. We also created a how-to review guide here that will hopefully be helpful and walk through step-by-step of how to review the platform, starting from the very beginning of here is that landing page that I mentioned, here is a video, here is the how to review guide, and again goes step-by-step of hopefully helping those reviewers be successful in that review and finding the pieces. And then also we will, of course, they will of course receive the these standards alignment documents, which this would be that standard alignment document for the Entrepreneurship course. And again, we would have a summary here that talks about the pacing guide, the way our curriculum team would have put this course content together, and then goes in and specifically spells out the exact correlation to the North Carolina standards. And if I go back to that how to review guide, it's going to give very step-by-step instruction of how to interpret and read this document here. So if we go to the landing page, and I'm going to pull this up, but I'm afraid, do you see something that says CEV Multimedia North Carolina Department? Does it look like a landing page, or are you guys still seeing that PDF document?
I'm still seeing the PDF document.
Okay, so let me see if I can switch that. I apologize, I'm not very Webex savvy, so if somebody could help me, that would be great. Let's see, we'll stop sharing, and then let's try this. Let's try share. Here we go. Okay, now you probably see something that looks like a landing page, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
now see your
perfect.
landing page.
All
That's the
right, so on the landing page, we do have a video here that walks through, again, all of the things that we've think that might be helpful for the review process. Additionally, we know that there is a rubric as well. So not only are we being evaluated on do we meet the standards, but then also there is a rubric. And so if we click here, then we have come through and for each of our different subject areas, if we download the sheet here, it's going to give some, here's the rubric, and then here's some where we have said this is if you're looking for material represent a balance of cultural, then here's an answer that might be helpful to you guys when going through that rubric that's outside of just do we meet the standards or do we not meet the standards. So that document can, again, if I'm on the landing page, I click here and then I can download that document. If we log in, and so let's just log in real quick, and let me go get that login, which is NC. I'm going to log in using those credentials that were on that official sample. Now, again, I'm the entrepreneurship reviewer, but you'll notice there are more courses that are actually loaded on this particular review account. Our platform is set up as such that if you are in similar cluster areas, for example, business, marketing, finance, IT, and media, our subscription model is that all of those courses are found within that subscription. Now, we realize that as part of this review process that you are just evaluating these course by course. So if you are that entrepreneurship reviewer, then you're going to click on the view button here to view the entrepreneurship course. And again, just as a means to try to be helpful, we have that how to review lesson right here at the very, very beginning of this course playlist. So if I view that, then there's that video again. And if I uncollapse the instructional materials, there's that how to review document. So again, we want to make all of that readily available for you to hopefully be helpful throughout this review process. So what you're seeing here is our Entrepreneurship 1 course. These are the lessons. They might be a video lesson, they might be a slide-based lesson that our curriculum team has aligned to the standards for entrepreneurship in North Carolina. And again, the reviewers will have received that printed entrepreneurship standards, but they also can access those standards right here as well. So they're just right there inside with the course also, so they can have them at their immediate disposal online, but of course, I'm sure they'll have them in front of them as well. So if I click on a lesson, and let's just click on this first lesson here. And again, all of our content, whether you are an agricultural science teacher that's going to be reviewing some courses, or family consumer science, or in this instance, this entrepreneurship reviewer, they're all going to be organized in the same way. So this particular lesson is a slide-based lesson. They all have lesson plans that go along with them. So if I open up this lesson plan, it's going to give me a goal, going to give me a description, going to give me objectives, going to give me how are we correlated to the Common Core standards. And if I scroll past that, then you get into the actual lesson plan itself. And it just gives step-by-step instruction on how to incorporate this into your class. Teachers do not have to follow this to a T. They can pick and choose what they would prefer to utilize from the content that's been made available from our curriculum team, but it gives them a guide of how to incorporate this lesson. Everything that is in italics within this text is some sort of handout, project, or activity or assessment for the student that's going to help them better apply or understand what they have learned in this instance in this section of slides. Or if it was a video lesson, it will have some minutes listed over here. It could be a project or an activity that maybe they start on day one and it's a building project or activity, more of like a capstone project, if you will, but something that they would turn in at the end of the lesson. Additionally, all of our lessons promote career explorations. So we have a library of more than 800 guys and girls from across the country that have some sort of CTE related career. And we match those interviews up with each of the lessons. So if students are interested, oh, well, this was a very interesting lesson, I want to start my own small business, then they can hear from these guys and these girls here of how they started their small business and what courses they needed to take in high school and what was helpful and what wasn't helpful and what they like about their career and what they don't like about their career. So these do not have to be incorporated with every lesson, but they just are there for every lesson to just foster that exploration of careers for the content that they have been learning. So that lesson plan, again, opened up in a new tab, as you can see here. If I just click back and go to the lesson itself, again, this is a slide-based lesson. You can just progress through the slides here. In our alignment, we're going to say that, you know, if this particular standard meets these, with this starting a small business, slides 13 through 14. So you could scroll through as an example and find slides 13, 14 and say, yes, this meets the standards. No, it does not. Additionally, we also satisfy standards with projects, activities, handouts, vocabulary, assessments, those types of things. And to access those, I just uncollapse this instructional materials menu here. And this is where they all live. So we may say that, okay, we not only satisfy the standard with these slides, but then we also have an accompanying handout for the students that would foster the reading element. And you could come in and click on that, and that just opens in a new tab here, and here is that project. All of our assessments are in printed form here, but they also are in interactive form as well. And I only point that out just to say that we do have the interactive projects, activities, vocabulary, assessments. All of this is integrated in Google Classroom if you wish. We also have other LMS integrations as well. I know that's not necessarily a part of just reviewing the content for meeting standards, but I know as you talk about some of those other elements in the rubric, how does this interact with other learning management systems, we do have that integration. Additionally, you can see here that there's all kinds of checkboxes and things like that. This allows the instructor from an interactive standpoint to really dictate what the student sees, what they don't see. Are we going to allow them to see their answers after they finish? We might want to keep that on for a special populations group. Are we going to allow them to take this assessment more than one time? Or are we only going to allow them once? So again, all of this functionality here is what is helpful for the instructor when they push out that content for students to answer all of this interactively. They have tons and tons of control features in terms of how they want to push that content out to the students. If for some reason, you know, the student does need everything, it needs needed in printed form, again, the printed form is all up here as well. There's just an interactive version of those projects and activities. If I go back to the course, and so let's look at what a video looks like. So again, that was a slide presentation. If I view this here, this is the video element. Again, gonna have a lesson plan. So if I view the lesson plan, give me those goals, descriptions, and objectives. That Common Core alignment, keep scrolling, and I'm gonna get to that step-by-step instruction from the lesson plan perspective. Instead of slides over here, it has 7 minutes of video. We've tried to take all of our content, whether it's slide-based or video-based, and segment that out into very small learning objectives because we know that students don't want to watch 45 minutes of video at a time. They want to watch a small segment of video or go through a small segment of slides and then go and do a project or an activity or something that helps them apply what they've just learned within that. We may reference in our correlations that we meet a certain standard with the ethics in business video lesson in segment 4, business and social responsibility. So when I'm reviewing, all I have to do is click on that segment here, and now I can watch that short 7 minutes and say, yes, that does in fact meet the standard. So we will reference those in the standards, the segments of video where applicable. And again, everything that is going to be down here as well. All of our videos do have a video transcript. So if that might be easier for you to utilize to review, there is that as well. So you can just click on that and then the transcript will appear here. All of the videos are closed captioned. So just want to point that also. And again, you're going to uncollapse the instructional materials. We may correlate to an activity. We may correlate to a project. And again, there's going to be those interactive assessments as well that go along with each of the lessons. If I go back to the course, the instructors do have the opportunity to, manage rosters, enroll students in particular courses. There are course grades reports with reporting in terms of what questions students missed and those types of things. And so that's where the students will have the ability to do that here. One thing we did turn off for the review process, but I just want to make a note, is we do have a create a custom assessment feature as well, but we did turn that off for the review process just because as they create those assessments, then those get stored, and we didn't know if that needed to be part of the review process. So just out of caution, I guess, if you will, and we know that how things need to be very tight in terms of the review process, that particular feature was turned off in this instance.
So you have 30 seconds left.
Okay. Well, I can't think of anything else. I just would encourage you to definitely watch the video. So as I look at this landing page, watch the video, read that how to review process. And again, regardless of what course, everything's organized in the same way. And I just want to say thanks for this the opportunity, and we look forward to hearing your feedback.
Thank you. Our next presenter would be Chris Yost from CompU Scholar. It takes a few seconds for one poster to get off as a panelist and the next one to be added on. So while we're waiting, Mr. Yost, if you just want to make sure that your end's ready for when you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can, and I think you
Great.
might be ready to go now. So we're a few minutes,
All right.
we can start when you want it. I will start my timer on my phone, and I don't know if you heard or not, but I don't want to stop you in mid-sentence. So when the alarm goes off on my phone, I'll just like cut on my volume so you can hear it, cut on my mic so you can hear it. So that and then when there's a break, I'll tell you. But when you hear that noise,
that's fine.
it's meant. Okay.
Whatever you need to do is fine. And can you see my screen okay?
I can.
Okay, super. All right, well, thank you so much. It's great to be here. So today what we wanted to do, since we only have a few minutes, is just give you a brief introduction to CompU Scholar and kind of motivate what we're doing here. We have submitted full navigation videos and review instructions, so we're not going to dive into those details in the time that we have. So my name is Chris Yost. I'm the president of CompU Scholar. I actually spent a couple of decades as a software engineer before moving over into the education space. And so one of the reasons that I left the industry to move into education was because we saw the need for more software engineers here in the United States. So in the US, we have many open computing jobs, almost 500,000 open computing jobs, but we really only graduate about 1/10 of what we need every year in order to fill those jobs. So our goal and our motivation here at CompU Scholar is to help fill that gap that we have here in the United States with our children. So we want to encourage kids in middle school and high school to consider computer science as a career, to get them thinking about that 4-year degree track in college. And so that's kind of our wheelhouse, is offering those digital literacy and computer science courses that are aimed at middle and high school students. And by the way, it looks like North Carolina, according to code.org, has a substantially similar gap. So you have many open computing jobs and not enough computer science graduates to fill those jobs. So our goal is to, again, increase participation and interest in the subject matter, throughout the United States. So as I mentioned, our wheelhouse is computer science and digital literacy. So we kind of stick in this one subject area. So we offer courses that teach computing skills. So how do I use a computer and word processors and spreadsheets and that sort of thing. And then we have a variety of coding courses as well. So we can teach kids how to code in different languages. We can teach them how to create their own websites. We can teach them how to do video game design. And again, our goal here is not to graduate many Java engineers out of high school, but our goal is to find that one course or that one subject that kind of sets the hook for the kids and gets them to start thinking about computer science as a career in college. So this is our first time through the North Carolina review and adoption process, but we are experienced in this sort of thing and have been reviewed and adopted in a number of other states. So we started off, our first review and adoption cycle was in Texas in 2014. And since then, we've been through Florida and Tennessee and South Carolina, Alabama, and quite a few other states as well. So we've been very successful at aligning our courses to state standards and kind of meeting the needs on a state-by-state basis. And so we look forward to doing the same thing in North Carolina as well. So in addition to curriculum, we recognize that states typically need 3 to 4 times the number of qualified computer science teachers that they have already. So if you look at a typical state, you might have a computer science class in every 3rd or 4th high school. And our goal really is to help this rising tide of computer science teachers offer this subject in every high school. So to that end, we have a number of free professional development programs for teachers. We have skill building sessions where they can actually learn to code in the different languages based on our curriculum. We also help prepare teachers to become certified in their state. So if you're using the Praxis Computer Science exam, for example, to certify teachers in your state, we can help with that, as well as the Pearson exam. And we've even got some tailored support for customized state certification exams as well. So we have a variety of free professional development programs for our teachers. And again, our goal is to help provide enough teachers to teach the subject matter in all of our high schools. So to find more information about that professional development, you can go to our website at compuscholar.com/schools and just pull down that free professional development to kind of read about the different opportunities. Okay. So like most, our curriculum is delivered online. So we have a full learning management system in the background. And this online delivery does give us seamless support for traditional face-to-face classrooms, as well as distance learning and all sorts of hybrid and flipped arrangements as well. So the vast majority of our deployments and our schools will use our curriculum in a kind of a traditional face-to-face manner, where the online curriculum simply replaces the printed textbook. And like any LMS, it has a variety of features, automatically graded quizzes and tests, and that sort of thing. So there's plenty of interesting support and technical features and reports and that sort of thing that your review team will see as they get into the course material. We do have support for automatic rostering and single sign-on. So for districts that are using a lot of digital publishers like CompuScholar and they only want to assign one username and password per student, we do participate in these services. So if you're doing Clever or ClassLink or GG4L for automatic rostering and single sign-on, we can hook into your student information system and pull all that information out and kind of get things set up in our system automatically.
And
We
you
do also have, great, last slide, so perfect timing. We do also have integration support for third-party learning management systems. So whether a state or district level Canvas system, Schoology, Blackboard, Desire to Learn, we use IMS global standards and we can integrate our course content directly into those systems. So again, that's just kind of a quick sprint through CompuScholar. We do appreciate your time. And again, there's full navigation, walkthrough video, curriculum alignments, and everything that were submitted to your review team. So you all should have that at your fingertips when you're ready to get started.
Okay, thank you so much. The next publisher on our schedule is eDynamics. Lisa, I'm going to say it wrong, Rain. You would be next if you want to, while Dr. Fair's switching panelists to make you where you can access it, if you want to go on and make sure that you have your materials pulled up. You're next.
Commissioner Linker, I don't see that name as an attendee.
I don't either. And That is who I have on the list as being the presenter.
And you asked if there's anyone
Yeah,
else.
is there anyone else in the attendees that would be representing e-dynamic learning? And I do not see any. No one's answered, Dr. Fair. So the next person on the schedule would be Goodhart, Wilcoy, Riley Kirkpatrick. So if you're ready and you want to go ahead and go, we'll move you up to that spot and start your 15 minutes.
Mr. Linker, this is Carmela. I see Mary Van, who is also on the list for Goodhart Wilcox. So I've made Ms. Van the presenter.
So I know, Ms. Van, we're a little ahead of schedule, so we'll give you a few minutes to make sure we kind of put you on the spot. And let us know when you're ready, and I will start my timer.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. Sorry about that. I've been frantically pushing buttons. All right, now the next question is, can you see the presentation?
We can see something that says G-W Publishers 100 anniversary on a slide.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Okay, great. So I think I think we're good.
So as a reminder, I've got 14 minutes on my phone, and when that goes off, it'll make like the sound. So I don't want to stop you in mid sentence. So I'll just mute myself so you can like hear the sound, so that you'll know you've got like a minute to wrap up.
Okay, great.
And
hello, I'm Mary Van. I'm your educational consultant for Goodhart Wilcox, and I'd like to begin today by providing a little bit of background about Goodhart Wilcox. They were established in 1921 and publishing both print and digital instructor materials for career technical education and health education. We work alongside educators. To provide them with personalized support, sharing the passion and commitment that you all are preparing for your students for both success in life and in their careers. We collaborate with a variety of outstanding authors, trustworthy reviewers, and industry-focused trade associates to provide quality standard-based content with effective pedagogy. Teachers have learned that they can trust Goodhart Wilcox for the best in career and technical education products. GW is the only company that's been publishing exclusively for CTE products for almost 100 years, and one of the few remaining employee-owned American publishing companies. CTE teachers can depend on and trust GW. Together, we build careers. We offer print resources, digital resources, and bundles for those districts who prefer print and digital resources for students. We integrate with LMSs, offer rostering implementation options, and teachers can post to other platforms such as Google Classroom and Microsoft. We offer easy, quick implementation training and professional development, as well as ongoing support. As districts transition to one-to-one technology programs, you can be assured that Goodhart Wilcox offers the formats that meet your growing needs. Whether you prefer print, digital, or a combination of both, we can provide the option that works best for you and your students. So let's take a look at the content of the text to begin. Across all GW textbooks, units and chapters open with colorful images to grab a student's attention. Content is broken down into accessible chunks for easier comprehension. Essential questions encourage students to discuss what they've learned and think about concepts in the upcoming chapters. Chapters begin with objectives, which summarize the learning goals for each chapter, reading prep, and content terms to boost students' vocabularies. The Learn About features extended learning with interesting and useful concepts to maintain student interest. Global perspectives, where appropriate, promote global literacy with concerns and issues shared around the world. Health and wellness features summarize the latest in content that's appropriate. We have engaging visuals such as imagery, infographics, and charts to reinforce and enhance learning. When appropriate, careers are profiled, and the text contain important information related to education and training, work environment, job outlook, and income. End of chapter review materials contain robust activities. The summary captures key objectives emphasized throughout the chapter. Vocabulary activities assess students' knowledge of skills beyond rote definitions. Review assesses knowledge of chapter concepts. Core skills activities link chapter concepts to writing, reading, math, and speaking. And of course, critical thinking and problem solving challenge students to use higher level thinking skills. When appropriate, we do correlate to precision exams by U Science standards, and students have the opportunity to earn career skill certificates. Another great resource for the students is the free companion website. This reinforces chapter concepts with supplemental activities, links from the textbook, direct-to-student videos, animations, activities, self-assessment quizzes, e-flashcards, and more. All of these are easy to use and navigate. Other tools on the companion website include vocabulary games, matching activities, expand your knowledge activities, and chapter review questions. To support reading, language acquisition, and comprehension, our textbook is compatible with text-to-speech apps, which will allow students to have the pages read aloud. Chapter audio summaries are available to aid in comprehension. The online instructor resources will save you time and energy, and they are password protected, of course. Some of the online resources, teachers will have access to our extensive resources to help them plan and facilitate their course. All instructor materials are found on a convenient online bookshelf and accessible at home, school, or on the go. Every lesson has a detailed lesson plan available, allowing instructors to choose the activities that best meet the needs of the students and the timing for the class. The Exam View Test Bank is an assessment suite that makes creating and printing quizzes and tests fast and simple. Teachers can choose specific questions from the bank, add your own questions, or create customized tests. A test bank of questions for differentiated learning is also available. This test bank provides questions in 3 levels of difficulty: easy, intermediate, or difficult. Answer keys will provide access for the instructors to textbooks. Sorry?
I want to go to the grocery store.
Textbooks, student workbook, and instructor resources. Answer keys make life much easier when it comes to grading. Of course, we have PowerPoints for every chapter, and these are divided by lessons. And of course, you can edit these. There are so many more teaching resources that are available, including reading guides,
off coupon.
similar to Cornell style notes, vocabulary activities, case study assessments, skill development activities, and more. There are workbooks for the students. These are available both digitally and in print, and provide additional practice for the students to reinforce concepts. There's the student companion site, and allows the students to have access to student textbooks, companion website resources, and the student workbook. The student online platform will be very similar, but will not include the instructor resources. For the schools that choose to integrate with the learning management system, the online platform will appear different than what you see on the screen, but all the resources are there in that format. Finally, again, I'm Mary Van, and I'm the North Carolina Goodhart Wilcox Educational Consultant. I have over 20 years of publishing experience with a strong reputation for customer service. I appreciate the time and attention you've provided to learn more about some of the key elements provided by Goodhart Wilcox.
Thank you, Miss Van. Just a side note, if everyone should have their mic muted, and there are 2 attendees that do not. So if you could please mute yourself, that would be very much appreciated, I'm sure. So Dr. Fair, I guess first of all, again, thank you, Ms. Van, for a very good presentation. I saw that eDynamics is, I think, if she's still logged on, had logged on right after we started. So
Yes, I see her.
I would say we go on and put her next because we were a few minutes early. So if she wants to get her material, her presentation ready while we switch over, then Miss, I'm going to say it wrong, Ron, you would be the next one to present for us for eDynamic Learning.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, let me just get my PowerPoint up. Hold on one second.
Take your time. You've got a few minutes, and then when we start, you'll have your 10 minutes, and I'll give you a minute warning, which basically I'll unmute myself, and you'll hear my phone alarm making the noise because I don't want to stop you in mid-sentence.
Okay. Thank you. Let me just stop my video. Okay. Apologies, I'm having some difficulty. I don't use Webex on a regular basis, and I'm having some difficulty sharing my screen.
Do you see a share button at the bottom of your screen, Ms. Ron?
I do. Thank you, Dr. Fair. I do. And it's asking me for to allow for privacy or to allow to record, but it's not doing anything beyond that. So hold on one second. I might have to do a little bit of some ninja skills to figure out what I can do here. Bye. I'm so sorry. I'm still having difficulty sharing my screen. It's just not allowing me to share my PowerPoint. I'll continue to try. I apologize.
We're a little ahead of schedule, so we have a few minutes.
Thank you. Thank
And while we're waiting for the publishers that are on line, I will say this again at the end, as we complete our check-in process for the materials that you submitted, be on standby, because if we have any questions, the contact person, either myself or Dr. Fair, will be reaching out to you and before tomorrow morning. So again, normally we do it in a face-to-face setting. We would be in a room and we would do the checklist. If you've participated in the past, you have an idea of what I'm talking about. We're doing that virtually this time. So checking to make sure all the links are working and everything that's there is there, and what's not supposed to be there, we might ask to be removed. Again, I will remind you guys, everyone, of that at the end of the presentation. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm very sorry. I cannot share. It is really, there's some sort of privacy trip up with Webex that I am just not able to override. I'm so very sorry. Let me just try to start my video. There we go. So I think in the interest of time, regrettably, there's nothing that I can show, and I'm cognizant that everybody has a schedule and there are other publishers who are waiting to present. So what I can do is talk through a little bit about what I was going to discuss today. I'm so sorry, I'm not sure what the issue is with respect to WebEx.
Before you start, I know we have one or
Yes.
two commission members that might have a more experience with WebEx. I don't know if they have any hint to help you. So if that's the case, I know there's several of us that are familiar with WebEx and use it often. I'm not one of those people. That is not something we use either in my district. You can pipe in and give advice, or most definitely you can talk us through it. We have access to all the material, so hearing about it might help us when we go to actually look at it again. We are checking the materials in, so we will be, if we have not already seen it, we will be seeing it in the next, let's say, before tomorrow morning.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any advice? Where I'm getting caught up is I'm trying to share my screen. When I click the share button, I'm asked to open systems preferences and then unlock so that I can share, unlock applications so I can share. And it just doesn't seem to, when I try to unlock the PowerPoint, doesn't seem to recognize that. I'm using a Mac, if that's any help.
I'm not seeing any response, so I'm guessing that maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah, just if you want to just talk us through. I know it's not ideal, but we'll have that that knowledge that you provide us now when we go to look at it for ourselves.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it, and thank you very much for sticking with me with my technical issues. I haven't had this challenge with WebEx before, but I'll introduce myself. My name is Lisa, and I'm the Director of Course Strategy for eDynamic Learning. And if you haven't heard of eDynamic Learning, you're forgiven for that. We are a company that's been around since 2008. We've always produced courseware, not anything print, but courseware. That can integrate into different learning management systems, specifically in the elective and the career and technical education space. Core is not our bailiwick. Given that we've been around since 2008, we have been distributed by a variety of different companies, such as Pearson, but we are making quite a name for ourselves now. Present, we have over 200 courses with the goal of helping students get a broad view of the world around them and the many career opportunities that are available to them. We have over 200 of those courses. We're very flexible. Our courses, when you get in there and take a look around, you'll notice that they are designed responsively, so they will reformat themselves to fit your screen's device. And that's part and parcel of a company that has not started with print and is retrofitting to digital, but rather is a digital first organization. And the materials will work with Chromebook, iPad, laptop, and desktop, and they run in any browser. And they also directly integrate into 6 different learning management systems: Moodle, Schoology, Canvas, Desire to Learn, Brightspace, Blackboard, and Buzzagilix. And you'll be looking at the courseware in Buzzagilix. That's an off-the-shelf learning management system in which we provide demos. But know that we directly integrate with those other learning management systems. Something else that's important to know about the way that we design our courses is we design our courses around industry recognized certification exams. Our goal is to make sure that after potentially a program of study of e-dynamic learning courses created in sequence that students have the foundational knowledge to take an industry recognized certification exam. And how we do that is we extract the standards and the competencies from those certification exams, and we build those into the courses. We actually start with a backwards design process, which is the same strategy that's typically used for core curriculum. We use that for our elective and career and technical education courses, starting with that industry recognized certification exam first, and then working backwards from there, trying to understand what it is that students need to do by the end of this course, or by the end of the unit, or by the end of the lesson. Our courses are designed with Gen Z in mind. We know how plugged in that generation is, social media, apps, etc. So we design our courses to meet their needs. And we use predominantly 3 learning theories in the building of our courses to support Gen Z students. Behavioral theory, the idea of using some external stimulus to build information. Constructivist learning theory, whereby students are building information based on their own lived experience and material to their lives. And then lastly, cognitive theory, whereby there's lots of opportunities for reinforcement to help students process information. One thing that you'll notice when you are reviewing our courses is that they are all structured the same, and we try very hard to manage students' learning expectations. So the courses themselves are 8 units, sometimes taught over a couple of semesters, depending on a school district's circumstance, and the unit organization is the same. So within those units are contained self-paced lessons, features that would help students engage with the material so they're not only passive readers, opportunities for practice, as well as assessment opportunities, a combination of machine graded assessment opportunities, as well as open response opportunities for students. And then we embed in these courses the opportunity to learn soft skills, with the fact that employability is really top of mind. So some of the features that you'll see in our courses that would help students engage with the material, but also help them process information, is the material itself is chunked, which is not a big surprise. Try to provide bite-sized chunks to help with the cognitive processing of information. Other assets in the course that help with the cognitive processing of information are flashcards, a rich visual program, as well as an asset called podcast. And a podcast is it is the professionally narrated lessons. So lessons have been narrated by a real person, not a bot, to help students who are auditory learners, students who might be ELL, wherever students are. That is an asset that can improve literacy as students are hearing academic vocabulary, as well as a narrator read sentences which can impact their prosody. As well, in the last lesson of every unit, you'll come across check your knowledge or test your knowledge practice questions, which provide correct and incorrect answer feedback. And that incorrect answer feedback does not provide the correct answer. Rather, it provides information that would allow students to try again. So it helps to extend their knowledge, and it's low stakes information, or the grade that a student would get by practicing with those questions is not captured by a grade book. But there are opportunities for students to demonstrate to their teacher their cumulative knowledge in the form of quiz questions. Each unit has a quiz bank. It has 50 questions in it, which pulls 15 questions at random. Those questions are predominantly multiple choice, There's a handful of true false, and they are DOK2 and higher. And those are scored by the system. So automatic, nothing for a teacher to do. Students' results go straight into a grade book. Additionally, there's one of my favorite features of the course is activities, which provide hands-on experiences, give students an opportunity to demonstrate their higher order of thinking skills using their cumulative knowledge from either the unit or from previous units in order to create a product. And those activities are cumulatively, there may be 1 to 4 per unit, and they are 2 hours, about 2 hours of work from start to finish for all the activities in the unit for the student. And they're open-ended, whereby students are producing a product for a teacher for evaluation. And that evaluation gives the teacher an opportunity to provide very personalized feedback. In addition to that, just talking about a couple of accessibility features that we have in our courses, we do have a literacy support toolbar, which provides a read aloud feature. That is a bot voice whereby students can select a word, a paragraph, a sentence, and have that read aloud. A translation feature, which translates the information on the web page into one of 65 different languages. It also has a highlighting feature, a screen mask feature for those students who might be dyslexic or might need information highlighted in order to process it. One other thing to know about us as an organization is that we take DEI very seriously, and we employ an organization to help make sure that our material is relevant, it is free of bias, and it's sensitively presented so that it's authentic. And that organization will read in a variety of topics that we identify. They read an entire unit or more to help us if there's any remediation that is necessary. And they read for things like ageism, generational issues, culture, race and ethnicity, regionalism, just to name a few of the areas that they read from. I'll also mention as well, we do provide teacher supports. We provide an answer key for any open-ended question, with exception of the activities, because those are very personalized and product-based. But for the activities, we do provide a rubric. And as well, we provide 4 teaching guides, a pacing guide, a guide with respect to how to use e-dynamic learning curriculum in a blended or a hybrid environment, how to use it if a teacher is teaching wholly online, or if continuous learning is required, switching from the classroom to remote quickly. And we also have an inquiry-based learning guide, which also has some strategies. Beyond that, we also,
Sorry, your time's up.
Okay,
I think we
thank you.
But I was hoping you could hear the alarms. So thank you for your
couldn't.
presentation. I think that we got a good feel.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for bearing with my technical issues.
I think we've all experienced that at some point, given the last year of a lot of online attending meetings and teaching and stuff. So we definitely understand and have probably been there. Next would be NGL Cengage, and again, we are about 12 minutes ahead of schedule, really more like 8 before we should start getting stuff ready. I don't see, let me look again, that person that I have, Brock O'Shell, to present for NGL Cengage. So if there's someone else that I don't have the name for, that is in the attendees, that is here also to present for NGL Cengage, if you could unmute yourself and let us know. So because we were a few minutes ahead of schedule, we're gonna we'll give him another minute or so. If not, I think I see Tabitha Savage in, and she's for Open Up Resources. So we would go ahead and start with her. So let's give him another minute to see if he pops in. And if not, Ms. Savage, if you would be ready to get your materials loaded up so we can share screens. I think, Dr. Fair, if you want to go ahead and switch so that Ms. Savage can be a panelist for her presentation. And if he pops on
I did
after this, we'll
already.
switch them.
Okay, I did already. She should be ready.
So welcome, Ms. Savage. Let me know when you have your materials ready and you're ready to start. And I will start my timer with a 1-minute warning.
Hey there, everyone. How are you today? Let me go ahead and see if we can share my screen. You should have my screen, and I am ready to go whenever you are.
We do see your screen, and I'm going to set my timer to go. And so, like, I'm not going to stop you mid-sentence. So when you start, you'll hear my thing, and you just kind of know you've got about a minute at that point. Because you've got 5 minutes, I want you to be able to use your time. Okay?
That sounds perfect. Thank you.
When you start, I'll start my timer.
All right, I'm going to reset my internal timer here as well. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tabitha Savage. I am the North Carolina Regional Development Manager for Open Up. And today I'm here to share a little bit more about Open Up High School Math 2nd edition with you today. So thanks for having me. If you're not familiar with Open Up Resources, we are a nonprofit educational organization, and our mission is grounded in equity. We believe that all students deserve to have a joyful, high-quality educational experience, regardless of your race, your ethnicity, your zip code. We believe everyone deserves to have that joyful experience in the classroom. And so that's really at the heart of absolutely everything that we're doing here. And just a few days ago, Ed Reports released their report on Open Up High School Math. And so we are thrilled to say that we are all green. So I encourage you to check out this report if you haven't seen it just yet. Open Up High School is a fully integrated curriculum. It is aligned to the North Carolina standards, and it is available in Math 1 through 3. This is a task-based curriculum through a set of carefully selected and connected real-world tasks. Conceptual understanding is going to lead to procedural skill and fluency. The tasks are specifically designed with high school students in mind. We've kept their interest at the heart of what we're doing in our 2nd edition to ensure that their engagement is going to remain high throughout the tasks and throughout the school year and the courses. Each day's task is also accompanied by 3 sets of daily practice problems. And these practice problems are designed to activate prior knowledge and prep students for upcoming topics, to solidify topics that they have learned that day in class, and then also to cycle back through previously learned concepts to keep those ideas fresh and fluent for students. Our full course curriculum offers teachers a wide range of professional learning services, including overviews. We have scope and sequences, daily lesson plans, of course. There are learning targets, there are progressions, many more things here as well. Every day's lesson includes a wide range of supports within that day's lesson also. So you're going to see supports for supporting students with diverse learning needs, for ELL students. We are connecting the mathematical practices into each of our lessons. And teachers are also going to find best practice instructional routines like Notice and Wonder, or the mathematical language routines, already built into the curriculum. So the resources are supportive for new teachers, but it's important to note that they're not going to feel scripted for veteran teachers or for those teachers who are very comfortable in the conceptual math. Open Up is the only high school math curriculum available on the market today that specifically embeds the 5 practices for orchestrating mathematical discussions into each task. So teachers will use the anticipating and monitoring chart that you see here to support them through their planning as they're thinking through different pathways or different misconceptions that may pop up during planning. There's a second chart that they will use within their classroom lesson as they're facilitating the lesson. This one is the selecting, sequencing, and connecting. And so this one is going to assist them as they are facilitating their lessons, working with students, asking additional assessing and advancing questions to small groups of students. There are a number of curriculum features in the second edition for students as well. In addition to the daily tasks and the daily practice, we've included jump starts to activate prior knowledge. There are student-facing learning goals. There are optional lessons to extend the learning. There are extensions within the task. Those are called Are You Ready for More? We've included lesson summaries and self-assessments as well to support students in synthesizing their learning throughout the course. Our curriculum includes a variety of formative and summative assessment options as well. We have exit tickets every day, quick quizzes, there are performance tasks, there are summative assessments. All of these are included in our curriculum, and they are all 100% editable and customizable. All assessments are tagged with a standard, so this is going to make standards mastery, data collection, and review much easier for our stakeholders. So, and yes, of course, answer keys and rubrics are included there as well. So once again, my name is Tabitha Savage. I'm with Open Up Resources. I want to thank you for your time today. I do appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit more with you about Open Up Resources, High School Math 1 through 3 in its second edition. We look forward to future collaborations and partnerships across North Carolina. Thank you for your time today. Much appreciated, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have, if I still don't see the Mr. Brock O'Shell. Let me check one more time. But we are a few minutes before he would start. If he's not here by 3:30, I know Mr. McCarthy's here. I don't see Laura Cabra. I don't know if you guys are presenting together or not, and you're not scheduled for 3:55. But we would love to be able to move you up to fill in the gap. And while we're waiting a few minutes for Mr. Brock, for the publishers that are on, because it's not always the same publishers for the entire time, just a reminder that as we are finishing up our check-in system, we normally would do it in a room where we check in the material that you have submitted to make sure everything is there and that there's nothing that shouldn't be there provided. As we finish that up, if we have any questions or if a link doesn't work or there's any technical difficulties, we'll be reaching out to troubleshoot before we start with our advisors tomorrow. So please be on standby or have the person that has that we were provided the name for to ask questions. We had a content contact and a technical contact, just to be on standby, because it could be tonight, it could be in the morning, and it would be Dr. Farrer and myself reaching out. So just keep that in mind. And we have Mr. O'Shell here.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
We're doing well. How are you? And welcome. The way we're going to do this is while you get your stuff up and ready to go, I'll set my clock and my timer on my phone, and it'll have like you'll have 1 minute. When the alarm goes off, I'll unmute myself so you can hear it, because I don't want to stop you in mid-sentence. But when you hear that, know that you have a minute, and then I'll stop you at a minute if you haven't already wrapped it up. Okay?
Okay, perfect. Is it okay? Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you and we can see you. Did you want to share anything with us? You have a few minutes to pull anything up that you need to share. There we go.
Okay. How's that?
That works. So whenever you're ready, I will start the timer on my end.
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll get started then.
Okay.
All right, well, hello everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Brock O'Shell. I'm the Customer Success Consultant for National Geographic Learning and Cengage for the Southeast region. And I'm here today to sort of tell you a little bit about our company and share with you the titles that we are offering for review. So with that being said, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about National Geographic and Cengage, if you don't know already. I'm sure many of you, seeing the name National Geographic, it probably brings back some of those memories as a student or as a teacher, and those engaging experiences that you had, maybe as a curious learner, looking at those photographs, the maps, and the knowledge that you would gain from interacting with National Geographic. At National Geographic Learning, we bring 130 years of National Geographic experiences into the learning through the resources that you and your students are going to be able to engage with whenever you adopt us. Through the content that's woven into the program itself or through live or virtual events, we really embrace the missions of National Geographic so that you can share these experiences with your students. What you're also going to see is innovation that many of you have come to know from Cengage, and that's a great partnership that we have, with Cengage and National Geographic. And you're going to see that innovation in the approach that we take to our digital learning solutions. So teachers and educators have inspiring resources to engage their students, and they have the ability to customize those in their classroom, whether you are digital first or just starting to incorporate that into your daily instruction. Our platforms are really easy to use. They're really easy to access. They're really easy to inform you as well. And then finally, we know this process to select new materials is a journey, and I'm going to be here with you on this journey, but it's more than just me. It's a team to support you with your digital onboarding. Best practices through our talented author teams and our National Geographic Explorers. So with that being said, I wanted to just dive in a little bit deeper and tell you a little bit about our CTE portion as well, because at National Geographic Learning, a part of our Cengage, our goal is to offer, the students the tools and the content and the online practice at the right time throughout their career journey to help them build and get motivated, to build their confidence, to develop those skills and get certified to ultimately get the careers and knowledge they need to be successful. With that, we talk about some of the things when we look at our CTE courses, because our goal is to really promote student confidence and engagement with those courses. We build powerful content and curriculum across the national career clusters that is engaging, understandable, and get students hands-on with their future careers. With our digital solution MindTap, we provide access to real-world scenarios and practice for certification. Students will need to get the jobs they want. We also are committed to servicing students and teachers with training and support throughout the length of an adoption. So we clustered them into two categories, I guess, our solutions that we're submitting. And we have two solutions for pre-calculus. We have the pre-calculus with limits of graphing approach. And then we also have the pre-calculus with limits, the high school edition. And then with that CTE cluster, we have a lot going from that ag science with the science of animal art, agriculture, the agricultural science, the introductory to horticulture, all of these titles, I'm going to be sharing with you how to access them through our review sites. But I just wanted to highlight, going from those pre-calculus courses into the CTE, getting into the auto body repair, welding, these are the titles that we are submitting for review. And again, like I said, I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper into those as you guys are able to take a look at those with the review site. Both of these all of these titles are on two different platforms. So for our pre-calculus titles, you're going to be accessing them through our WebAssign platform. And what you're really going to see there is a learning platform designed with teachers in mind. It's providing them with the content, the flexibility, and the accuracy to empower their efforts while they're creating that learning path for student success. WebAssign is that one-stop shop for your students where they're going to be able to gain access to their textbooks. They're going to see their assignments, the due dates for those assignments, as well as complete those assignments, tests, and quizzes. Teachers are going to have the flexibility to customize those assignments as much or as little as they would like, adding their own assignments or using the pre-built assignments that go along with the test. For the CTE courses, you're going to be accessing those through our platform called MindTap. And you're going to see that that is a very robust digital platform that's going to enable your teachers to personalize instruction, keep students focused, connected, and engaged in both distance learning as well as in-class teaching scenarios as well. You're also going to find rich content that's going to be engaging to your students with interactive media and give them instant feedback. It's also going to provide embedded differentiation tools that's going to support your students throughout all aspects of that learning. You're also going to be able to have course customization and real-time data to inform instruction as you support teachers in course planning and effective teaching as well. So with all that being said, I wanted to go over just a little bit about how you're going to be able to access your review site. So you have the website here. I'll also, I think it was emailed to you as well, but you can also just take out your phone very quickly and scan that QR code that's up on the screen. And I really wanted to just take a few minutes to walk you through how to access all of the materials that you'll see. So just give you another quick minute. And then as we dive in, as you go to that login page, I'm going to keep that QR code up there so that you can keep scanning it if you need to. You're going to land on this first page, and honestly, you have our contact information up there. I'm going to give it to you at the very end as well. But you're going to get two links, whether you're going to dive into that math review site or you're going to jump into the CTE review site. So you have two links right from that very first page. Once you jump into math or CTE, the very first thing that you're going to see is information on how to access our digital materials. There's going to be some instructions there for you, as well as a blue link. That's going to be the website you're going to go to access our platform, as well as the default password, which is capital W welcome 1. And then you're going to notice that we have different usernames and passwords set up based off of the titles that you're going to be looking at. So for example, I'm in the math. You're going to see 10 different teacher usernames and 10 different student usernames. It's important to know that if you try to log in with teacher01 with the password welcome and it does not work for you, that just means somebody else is already in currently using that 01, but you have 9 others that you can go in as. So if it doesn't work for you, just go ahead and try a different number. As we jump into the CTE site, it's the same exact thing, but because we have so many different categories with CTE books, you're going to see them broken down. So you're going to get 10 usernames and passwords for the ag science, 10 for the business, and so on. So I'm going to jump into the actual website and go live with you right now. As I jump in here, you're going to see the website. And like I said, our contact information is there. And so for this first example, you're going to have 10 teacher and 10 student just for ag science. So you're going to see the titles that we're submitting, some information about those titles. And then as we keep going down, you're going to see the login information for business. Those usernames are going to be different. So you're going to see that they all start with teacher or student, and then at NC, and then whatever category it is. So right here we have our business, but for each of those, you're going to see a breakdown of the titles that we're submitting. And again, moving down, going into the next category. So it's a different set of usernames and passwords for each set of titles. So with that being said, it's just a very simple click of clicking on that file NGL Sync portal, copying and pasting in that teacher username or student username, and then your password for all of them is welcome1. If you need anything whatsoever for the review site, my contact information is here on the next screen. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me. There's my email address. It's very simply just brock.o'shell@cengage.com. Or if you have your phones out right now, go ahead and scan that. It'll ask you if you want to create a contact for me, and you'll be good to go. I'll help you along the way as you dive into this.
You got 30 seconds, but when you finish, I need to say something about that.
Oh, perfect. So with all that being said, you're gonna access each of those platforms using that same NGL Sync link, but each category is broken down with different usernames and passwords. So Kathleen, I think I've covered everything that I need to. What did you want to add?
Well, commission members cannot contact you.
Okay, so forget that
They
last
would tell
slide.
me, and I will contact you.
Kathleen, that slide is there for you. Everybody
Yes.
else, do not scan that. This is just for Kathleen.
Yes, that's for me.
But yeah, Kathleen, if they have any issues getting access
Yes.
to any of those, please feel free to reach out to me, and we'll make sure everything's set up for you and good to go.
And that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Take care.
Next on our agenda is Savas Learning Company, and there are two possible presenters, one for math and one for CTE. And I know that Mr. McCarthy's on. I still don't see Ms. Cabra. Mr. McCarthy, are you presenting for both or just the CTE part? You can unmute yourself. So Dr. Fair, we're still about 10 minutes ahead of when we would start their presentations, but if they're ready to go, I would entertain that we go ahead and make them on the panelist to present, or at least Mr. McCarthy, and then maybe he can share with us if we are waiting for Ms. Cabra, or if there's someone else on here that would be for Savas other than him.
Hello.
Hi.
You hear me? Okay, great. Good. I was like, I think you have to unmute me. I'm not a Webex guy either, so, but I am totally prepared to talk to the CTE portion of the bid. Lori actually has the slides, but
Okay.
I don't know. We were expecting her to go first. But if you'd like me to speak to the CTE portion of the bid, I'm certainly happy to do that.
I think, in fairness, we would want you to have your slides. If there's some way that you can contact her, let her know we're a little ahead, but and we can just kind of wait for her.
I have them. I have my slides, so if I can, I can try and share them with you and go through the CTE portion of the bid first.
If
Lori,
that
okay, I just got a note that Lori is joining now.
okay. So what if we just wait a few minutes for her and then,
Well, thank you for yeah, thanks. Well, I think that you're probably a little more interested in math. I understand.
I'm as equally interested in everything.
Story of my life. The CTE guy goes next. So that's okay. So let's see if we can get Lori on, and then I can.
I think in fairness, to you guys, we'll just give her a few minutes because we are a little ahead of schedule.
No problem.
Dr. Fair, I see that she's just now coming in, so you should be able to move her to panelist.
I'm not able to. She has her hand raised, so I'm not really sure what the issue is. Let me see if I don't even see how to unmute her right now. Give me a moment.
It'll be nice to go back in an in-person meeting, Senna.
I think everyone, it's been a big learning curve for everyone. I know I've used 3 different platforms in the last year.
Oh
And
my
I'm
God.
not a master of any of them.
No, me neither. Man, I got Teams people, I got Google people, I got Zoom people.
I have Zoom, Teams, and Webex. I think everyone's learned to give grace and space. That's my motto, grace and space.
Well, since it's Sunday, we'll say amen to that.
Okay, Lori, give me just a moment. I'm just now seeing how to access anything for you.
I'm in, but I can't see anything.
And I can't see, like it won't show, it's not showing that I can make you a panelist. So give me just a second and I can mute you and unmute you. And I can see that you've raised your hand and have a chat, but I don't see when I click on you, it's not allowing me to make you a panelist. Hold on just one second. Let me try something, okay?
Okay.
She's still not coming up as a participant. Oh yeah, she is.
She's an attendee, but she doesn't have like all the icons after.
Well, I hope so, because what I know about our math program can fit in a thimble. So, you don't want me to present math.
We're ahead of schedule, so we're good.
Okay, well, if you want me to try and share my screen with the CTE stuff first while we're waiting, then just let me know.
Okay. Let's give Dr. Fair a minute or 2 to see if we can fix it. If not, maybe you can share and Lori can talk through hers because we can hear her. She just can't. She has to be a participant. She has to be a panelist in order to share her screen.
Now, I'm probably not a panelist because
you are now. Yes, you are. We moved you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Why, thank you.
So you should be able to share your screen.
If you want me to try, let me know. And if not, I can just speak to it. It's fine. Ooh, I'm the presenter. I'm the presenter, but it does not share.
Lori, are you able to log off and log back in, maybe?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me try that. I mean, everything, Jeannie's calling me now. Jeannie, I'm in, but I don't have any presenter controls at all.
Right, because I can't see how to give you any controls. I only see your name and a raised hand. Can you try to log off and log back in, maybe?
Yeah, she's telling me to log off first and log back in. I'm going to try that. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
How do I leave? Jeez.
Is there a chance it's because Peter McCarthy is listed as the presenter right now?
You know, what's funny is like, so when I try to, the share button is gray. Like if I could share my screen, but I can't. Isn't this fun? Oh well. Well, let's give Lori a second to give it a go.
And that actually might have something to do, if you have a company-owned laptop, that you might not have the right to change some of the settings, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a Webex expert by any means. Now I see Lori back in, and she has a mic beside her now.
That's a good thing.
Yes, that's a good thing.
Yes, but when I get ready to try to change her role, I'm still not seeing the ability to make her a panelist. That's still grayed out for her.
Just let me know if you'd all like to me just speak to the CTE part of the bit. I'm happy to do that.
Commissioner Linker, I'm not sure what it is. I'm able to, when I click on any of the other attendees, I can see the option of making them a panelist or changing their role. But for Lori, I don't have that option for her. I don't know if it's something about the way she's joined or the link she used, but I'm not able to make her a panelist and then give her the rights to share her, be a presenter and share her screen as a presenter. Lori, are you able to share your screen as an attendee?
Peter, you are not able to share yours, correct?
No, it's gray, but I don't mind just speaking to the CTE portion of the bid if you'd like, if that helps you stay on schedule or move things along, that's fine.
Peter, let me try to give you presenter rights again and see if you can see it this time, okay?
Okay. My slides aren't that great.
Okay, I'm giving you.
Yeah, I see it says I'm the presenter, but it's still gray when I try to share. Share or open system preferences. Maybe it gives me a chance to change my preferences. Hold on. PowerPoint. No, it's not giving me the chance to share. But you know, that's fine. If you want me to just speak to it, that's fine.
Do you think it would help if Peter logged off, someone suggested? Or can you share your slides with
Lori could log? I had so much trouble getting in. I'm so afraid.
I don't know that I would think that would be a problem because the Webex doesn't know that they're from the same company. It just knows there's two people that came in with the links. So I don't think the fact that they're from the same company would be a problem.
Okay, you want me to log off? Because we're actually from different companies. But do you want me to log off? And cross my fingers?
Commissioner Lincoln, what do you think? I was asking because he said he can't see that it's grayed out for him to actually present.
Grayed out to share, and there was there was something to change my settings, but it doesn't seem to work. Peter, I sent you the presentation. So Lori sent me the presentation, but that's not going to help if I can't. So is Lori able to speak?
Yes. Yes.
Do you want to start there and we'll just speak to it?
We'll say that we will have access and do have access to see the materials and bid submissions and the website and all that. So if you want to speak to it, we are still going through the checklist and checking out things. So we'll be able to put our eyes on it at some point before tomorrow morning.
I mean, that's fine for me on the CTE side. There's just a few things I just want to point out to you to look for. You know, nothing. I know we can't go through features and benefits really. So.
And
are you able to speak?
People talking that need to either mute themselves unless it's someone with.
Lori, are you able to speak? I just tried to unmute you.
I'm trying. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can hear you.
Okay.
All right. She was like, she called you. I don't know if she tried to FaceTime you or what, but she called me and was like, what you doing? I was like, in my meeting. She was like, okay, well, I'm ready. I was like, okay, ready for it. Well, didn't you say you was coming here to get the keys or I was going there? What I need to do? Like, it's
Baldwin.
can't make sense out of it.
Commissioner Baldwin, we can hear you. Your mic's on.
I'm sorry, trying to check on my mother. I thought it says that it's muted. Let me try again.
I'm okay with you guys talking through it and just point out the things that you want that would help us when we go put our eyes on it. And if we have any questions about navigation, if something's not working, then it's my responsibility to reach out to say this isn't working. Can you check it for us? Does that help?
Works
Okay.
for me.
It works
Laura?
for me. I mean, I can do the same thing and just speak to what you can't see. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Because it keeps going on and off when you can and you can't hear me, so that's kind of my concern.
Loud and clear, Lori, loud and clear.
All right, so is that okay? Well, I will just kind of speak to the program and then transfer it over to Peter, who will speak to the his programs.
Right.
And I apologize, I don't have a clue why I don't have presenter buttons. I clicked on the link that y'all even sent to the tab and it took me to the same place.
Yeah, I have nothing. I am not an expert at Webex at all. But I would say yes, point out things that you would like for us to note or notice. And then, like I said, if something doesn't work, when we go put our eyes on it, for those of us that haven't had a chance to put our eyes on everything yet, I will reach back out and say this isn't working to you guys.
Okay. Sounds good. So let me go ahead then, because it is 4 o'clock. So my name is Lori, and obviously I'm with Savas Learning Company. And today I am happy to introduce to you the integrated mathematics solution that's specifically customized for North Carolina. So many districts, large and small across North Carolina, have been using this, and they're going to continue to have that continued success with Envision all the way from kindergarten through our high school integrated series. Now, we know that our North Carolina students can take different mathematical pathways, and we're proud to say that our Envision series covers all of those pathways. So we are Savas, formerly known as Pearson, and we recognize that North Carolina teaches integrated mathematics somewhat differently than many other states. Therefore, we've completely customized and aligned our digital integrated Math 1 through 4 so that those courses correlate to the North Carolina standard course of study. Now, Envision uses an easy to implement 4-step lesson structure that was based on years of research and experience. What I intended to let you know is we were going to take a look at how this 4-step lesson design unfolded on our Savas Realize platform, where you will be able to see the North Carolina digital customization. Now, Realize is our award-winning digital platform, and it integrates with a wide variety of learning management systems, and that includes full integration with Canvas and Google Classroom. And that's going to allow users to maximize the ability to support all of the North Carolina learners, not only online, but offline as well. So can you, making sure we can still hear each other. So if we were on, and maybe you're just going to have to visualize, if we were on the dashboard to Realize, what I would be clicking into would be the table of contents. And that wouldn't matter if I went into Math 1, 2, 3, but what you would see would be the order of progression that is specific to North Carolina of all of the topics for Math 1 that would end with our parallel and perpendicular lines, and then would go immediately into our Math 2 topics that begin with polynomials and factoring. Now, on that same table of contents page on Realize, you'll also be able to follow the sequence of the program by looking at the teacher resources, which is going to be over on your right-hand side. And when you click on those teacher resources, you're going to find a suggested sequence for the North Carolina Math 1 topics, as well as an overview guide, which we call our Teacher's Edition Program Overview. And that's kind of your roadmap to the TE. Now, we also have a suggested sequence there. When you click into that suggested sequence, you're going to see this outline that will be all the topics that you see on the table of content page, as well as the correlation to each of those lessons, North Carolina math standards. And again, I neglected to say that this is a 2022 copyright, completely customized for North Carolina. Now, when I click browse, I will be able to see all 3 of my integrated courses. And regardless of which one I select, at the top of the Realize platform, I'm going to find a standards button. And that math standards button is going to tell me which course I'm in. So for example, let's say I went into North Carolina Math 2 and I was looking at those standards. That'll allow teachers to drill down and look at all of those standards. And when they choose a specific standard, they're going to see that they can align any of the resources that are available to them on Savvis Realize. They will be able to see the results of those standards. For example, I clicked into one standard earlier today that there were 62 results that tie back to that particular standard. And again, I'm not on the Realize platform for you to see that, but there are several places, though, that I want you to make sure you understand to look for those standards. The other place is the data tab, which you'll also find at the top. And you're going to see when you click into the data tab, you'll click into a class, and you're going to see 3 different categories of analysis. The first one is going to show average scores. So for example, if I'm going to have assignments that are populated by bar graphs, and I can see what each one of those, the average score of that assignment is for my class. Now, I can also see progress, meaning the percentage of class who's completed the assignment. And I'll also be able to see the usage time, or the amount of work as the class average for students looking at that assignment. Now, if I click on one of those bars, perhaps I'm clicking on a topic 1 assessment. When I click into that bar, it's going to give me a variety of results based on standard analysis for that individual assessment. And when you look at that standard analysis, you're going to see what standards were assessed on that particular exam. There will be green marks for the standards. If they're green, that means the students scored 70% or above. If the standard was red, it means the student scored below that 70% mark. And we would probably, as teachers, want to click into that standard to see exactly what that standard was about. And they will also be able to see a View Resources button that once again gives them a variety of resources associated with that standard that could help them to fill in those gaps, so teachers don't have to look outside of the platform. And there's a lot of filters, a lot of different ways to look at that. Now, if you had the visual of my Realize platform, my actual Realize platform, I would be able to see on my table of contents page, there's what we call classroom videos, which I encourage you to take a look at. Those classroom videos are literally, when a teacher clicks in there, those are videos of each step of the lesson with our author, Dr. Eric Milu, and he is with a class of students, and he's showing in each step what that would look like with our effective teaching practice, those guiding probing questions that we put in the TE. So teachers would have a very good idea of what would this look like in my class with students. They'll also see a video of the same idea with teachers using the STEM project with students in a classroom, as well as our mathematical modeling in 3 acts, which are embedded once per topic. Now, if as a teacher reviews and they click into a specific topic, I'm going to click into, just since you don't have a visual, systems of linear equations and inequalities. I'm in a Math 1 course right now. And what I would also see there is, I would see my lessons, and I'd also see each of my projects I just talked about that, again, are embedded into that scope and sequence, my STEM projects, as well as my mathematical modeling. If a teacher then clicks into a lesson, what they're going to see at the top is they're going to see a teacher's edition e-text, and they're going to see their interactive student edition realized reader. And interactive is what I truly mean. Now, the lesson platform is very linearly organized. So teachers will see the step one, our exploratory activity, which is a problem-based learning activity that's connecting prior knowledge, followed by step two, understand and apply, where teachers are going to see a variety of visually interactive graphs, many of which are powered by Desmos. And students will also have a chance to try it. So for the teacher, that's a great chance for formative assessment as we're going through a lesson. Then on the platform, the next thing a teacher would see is our step three, practice and problem solving, where you're not only going to have, you will have digital math assignments powered by Math Excel, the same engine that's used in the colleges and universities all across the nation. Then they would finish up with step four, where they'll see a lesson quiz followed by a variety of resources that they can differentiate instruction. The teacher can drive that differentiation, or the system can actually drive that differentiation as well. So if I gave you a visual into a lesson, what students are going to be able to do in their interactive realized reader, they're going to see there's I can statements, the essential understanding, everything called out. But the really cool thing is what those interactive visuals do is they're literally taking a flat static textbook page, if you will, and bringing it to life visually in small scaffolded steps. Many of the times, the students get to interact with the math through the embedded Desmos. So teachers don't have to know anything about that. They just follow along with those Desmos interactives. Now, this doesn't really work that great because what I wanted to show you is how those interactives and how those examples were completely correlated to the North Carolina Standard Course of Study for each one of Math 1, Math 2, and Math 3. Now, of course, we also are going to have our Math 4 course, but it's going to be housed on a different platform. So to meet the needs of the North Carolina Advanced Math Course 4, those standards, we created a custom digitalized course that's going to combine the necessary algebra and trig skills with those real world statistics and real world applications. So what we did is we've taken two of our top texts, a Blitzer Algebra and Trigonometry, the 6th edition, and as well as our Bach, Mariana Crane, and it's called Stats in Your World, the 3rd edition. And we've taken those texts and we've combined those into a seamless digital experience that will be housed on our advanced platform, My Math Lab for School, where once again, you're going to be able to see correlations for a customized North Carolina Advanced Math Course 4. Okay, keep going on. All right, and this doesn't work very good with visuals, but anyhow, so our My Math Lab for School, again, this is what the colleges and universities use. It provides that personalized math homework. It provides assessment, an interactive e-text, a full multimedia library, tutorials for students, and a very, very large variety of instructor resources available to them, again, right on that platform. So I'm sorry that we didn't have any visuals, but it's time to turn it over to Peter. That would have taken much longer, but with no visuals, it's not going to work as well. So my colleague, Peter, your turn.
Thank you so much, Lori. I just have a few things that I want to point out about the CTE portion of the bid. So first of all, the relationship between Pearson and Savvis. Pearson Education continues to produce and develop the CTE solutions that are distributed by Savvis. in my position, I'm responsible for producing the content for K-12 CTE solutions. And it's awesome for me because I have all the media, content, technology that comes from Pearson. And I'm, an old Prentice Hall guy. So I have the expertise of the Savas team of what works in the K-12 classroom. So it's really a very good partnership, and it is an extended partnership. Really nothing has changed between the time that it was Pearson Education and Pearson K-12, or it was Pearson and Prentice Hall. It's still the same thing. We've now been publishing in CTE for over 20 years. And I do want to point out that you can see that we bid over 20, I think we bid 25 titles in the adoption into 28 courses. There was a few titles we bid into multiple courses. And that also, so we bid everything: agriculture, IT, health science, food and nutrition. So we're really a broad CTE publisher. And we also bid 13 titles from our NCCER, I always have trouble saying that, construction series. And I just wanted to point out that NCCER and North Carolina have been hugely successful together. DPI is actually our accredited training associate for NCCER at the high school level. So we annually we deliver on the modular level over 80,000 exams, and on the course level over 30,000 exams of NCCER. And NCCER, if you're not familiar with it, it's the National Construction, no, now I'm sorry, National for Construction, Education, and Research. So that was a group that was formed in 1996 between 100 different construction companies and academic leaders that got together and said, let's get a set of standards and a certification, so when we have a job applicant, we know if they're qualified. And that's been really, really hugely popular in North Carolina. So I did want to emphasize that part of the bid. The other thing I do want to talk about on the bid on the CTE side is the digital solutions. On the digital solutions, we do not use Realize for the CTE products, but we do give you two options. The first option is called VitalSource. VitalSource is pretty much what you might call a plain ebook platform. It has standard search and navigation features. It also has note taking. It also has some really cool other features like study plans where students create like flashcards and other things that they can use to prepare for a test. And believe me, I have seen some creative flashcards in my day. And there is also a read aloud, which means the text will be read to the student if that's something that the student needs. So we have that platform, and we also have, as Lori mentioned, the Pearson MyLab platform, which is really one of the greatest platforms in education. So that platform, and you may have experienced it in some of your AP courses, and we're really excited to bring that platform into the CTE world. So that platform is now available with our health science courses and our IT courses, a bunch of our different courses. That platform enables teachers to make assignments, to utilize interactive, really cool things like games and homework assignments and quizzes, and all that data is stored and goes to a gradebook. And there's also multimedia in all of our MyLab platforms. So you'll see video. It's really just, for CTE, it's a significant notch up in the technology that's available to CTE teachers. And I'm personally really proud to be a part of it. So Again, the other thing I would like to emphasize is we do have a ton of support for you. There on the Savvis side, you have your three account managers. I think there is Dan Bice, there's William Crespo, there's Jeannie McKee. We have assigned one specialist for CTE programs across the board. Her name is Erica Dashbosh. If I had my PowerPoints, I would send you her email address, but we will be sure to follow up with that. And we also have an NCCER specialist, Regina Forbes, is assigned to you. So I do want you to know that you have a ton of support. We're so excited to see North Carolina back. Gotcha.
You still have a minute. That's just your minute warning.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'll sing and dance for. No, but we're so excited to see North Carolina really back into the CTE space. It's been a while since we've had an adoption, and we're really excited to meet your needs and support you. All of the products have done really, really well on the correlations. All of the digital solutions have integration possibilities. No, there's no issues around integration with any of the solutions on the digital side. And wherever possible, these products do meet industry certifications. I don't know, you may not know, but Pearson partner is actually a Pearson company. Certiport is the primary certification body for many of these certifications. So certification is like our middle name. So we thank you, and we appreciate you, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much. Just as a reminder to everyone, general textbook, the commissioners in general can't contact the publishers and vice versa. So if there's a question or problem, it would come through myself or Dr. Fair.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is Walsh Education, which is Joanne Whitley and possibly Karen O'Connor. So Dr. Fair
Yes,
Dr. Fair needs to switch the Savvis team out to switch you in. So if you want to get your stuff ready to share.
They're switched already.
Oh, okay. You should. So
there's Karen. Yeah, so Karen's coming in.
So when you guys get up and ready and you start you'll get a 1 minute warning. So if you hear the music, it means it's just you have a minute left. I try not to interrupt in mid-sentence. So I'm just gonna play my alarm sound, and that means you have 1 minute. And then if you hear it again, then that's time's up.
Okay.
But I won't start that until you start your presentation.
All right. Karen, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, okay.
All
Yes,
right, sorry. It must have auto-muted me. I apologize for that. All right, so we're good to start. Kathleen, is that okay?
Yep, we are ready as soon as you are.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and kick things off then. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Karen O'Connor, and I'm the Director of Customer Success here at Walsh Education. I'm here with Joanne Whitley, our Senior Director of Mathematics. Joanne is going to review our resources with you in more detail in a minute, but I wanted to start by highlighting that all of our courses are also available on our digital platform, the Curriculum Engine. Our North Carolina Adoption landing page has a Curriculum Engine video overview that provides a more in-depth exploration of the platform, along with access information to the demo site and additional help documentation, both print and video. The Curriculum Engine platform can be used to enhance our print resources. In addition to the full digital version of the books, there are technology-enhanced and online tasks that can be used with students. These allow teachers to get immediate feedback as to how students are performing. Finally, the Curriculum Engine has an extensive learning object repository with high-quality standard-aligned tasks, both Walsh proprietary as well as open educational resources such as Desmos and GeoGebra. I'm going to move into the course materials now and hand things over to Joanne.
Thanks, Karen. Hello, my name is Joanne Whitley, and today I'm going to highlight some of the key components of the Walsh series. The Walsh series includes North Carolina Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, and Math 4, which has been customized to meet the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. You will find that our resources are very user-friendly for diverse teaching styles and levels. Our materials are available in a blended format, as Karen mentioned before, with printed materials as well as online and interactive materials using the Walsh Curriculum Engine or other LMSs. We can provide a tailored set of teaching and learning materials to include consumable student workbooks. Our curriculum design principles are that we focus on the three major components of rigor: conceptual learning, procedural fluency, and application. Throughout each of our courses, materials we provide opportunities to explore, investigate, experience problem-based learning in a way that supports students' learning. Next, I have a graphic here that shows how our lessons are based on a real-world problem-based task. We surround these problem-based tasks, one per lesson, with instructional components that support students' incremental development of mathematics. These problem-based tasks need many different instructional resources to build effective lessons that can engage and allow for a deeper understanding. We provide everything a teacher needs at their fingertips. Now, I would like to highlight some of the key components each set of course materials have. First, there is the table of contents, where the standards are being addressed. There the lessons. These table of contents provide a comprehensive overview of each unit and its resources. It will show that there's a mid-unit and an end-of-unit is available. In addition, it also shows that we have one or more conceptual tasks that is included in each unit. The table of contents shows a close alignment to the North Carolina frameworks. As mentioned before, each problem-based task is rooted in real-world situations. These problem-based tasks are meant to be done during a normal class time frame, and we have included differentiated support for students with a set of coaching questions that will guide students to the solution of the task. To continue that differentiated support, we also provide scaffolded skill practice, which is at the DOK level. These allow student to be access the page at the level. This set of practice is meant to support the diverse learner. In addition to the scaffolded skill practice, we provide two other sets of practice problems and a set of interactive practice problems. These interactive practice problems provide technology-enhanced item types. You will see drag and drop, multiple choice, fill in the blank, drop-down boxes, and most importantly, it provides students an opportunity to create and analyze graphs when needed. Lastly, here are a couple other items that are available at the unit level that you will find in our resources. We do provide one or more conceptual tasks per unit, as mentioned before, with the focus on conceptual learning and exploring mathematical content. Each unit does have a formative mid-unit and a summative end-of-unit assessment. These are both available in print as well as digital. This completes our walkthrough of the Walsh series. We know that our ability to customize resources is important to the state of North Carolina, and for that reason, we have aligned our resources closely with the North Carolina standard course of study and frameworks. For the 4 courses, North Carolina Math 1, North Carolina Math 2, North Carolina Math 3, and North Carolina Math 4. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for your time.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, bye.
Before we switch to our meeting session, just again a quick reminder to the publishers that as we finish our quote check-in process, which is virtual through the digital platforms this year, if there are any links that don't work or glitches, any technical issues, or if anything's missing or things that are there that shouldn't be, you'll get I'll either Dr. Fair or myself, one will contact you. More than likely it will be this evening. So just kind of whoever is the contact person that we have, it's for some publishers, it's 2. It's one for content and one for technical difficulties. Just have them on standby to kind of look out for email, and then once the email, or we could possibly call you. So that for me, that would be from my cell phone. So it may be a number that you don't recognize with the 704 area code. So just kind of keep that in mind as we are making sure that we check every link that everyone has submitted, at least with two commission members. So, and thank you for your time and your presentations this afternoon. So next part of our meeting, we're going to start with like a normal business meeting. We need to look at our minutes for the last meeting, and that was in our folder that we had where our meeting materials are located. We were not able to have a meeting on May the 18th. I think it was the 18th, because we didn't have quorum. So basically that's the minutes, that who was there for roll call and that we adjourned not meeting quorum for that meeting. So if anyone has any questions about that, if not, we would entertain a motion from the commission to someone to make a motion to approve the minutes, and then we will need a second to approve the minutes, and then we'll do a vote. And how we vote on this digital platform for the newer commissioners is Dr. Fair will just basically go through the roll call list, and you would either say yes, approve, or no, I do not approve.
Commissioner Autry, motion to approve.
So I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Autry. Do I have a second?
Commissioner Austin, seconds.
Okay, so we have our motion and our second to approve the minutes. Dr. Fair, if you can do the roll call so that we can vote on the minutes.
All right, Commissioner Laura Austin.
Commissioner Austin approves.
Commissioner Jody Ray Autry.
Commissioner Autry approve.
Commissioner Ricky Baldwin.
Commissioner Baldwin approves.
Commissioner Marlena Blue.
Commissioner Blue approves.
Commissioner Edward Coggins.
Commissioner Coggins approves.
Commissioner Aubrey Gadet. Commissioner Aubrey Gadet. Commissioner Hannah Jimenez.
Commissioner Jimenez approves.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Linker approve.
Commissioner Mallory Imbalia.
Commissioner Imbalia approves.
Commissioner Elisa McLean.
Commissioner McLean approves.
Commissioner Rob Oral.
Commissioner Oral approves.
Commissioner Alicia Ray,
Commissioner Ray approves.
Commissioner Lindsay Sice, Commissioner Lindsay Sice,
Commissioner Sice is on, but she's not having any audio right now, so just wanted to let you know.
Dr. Fair, Commissioner Sice has indicated that she's here and she is.
I'm back. I'm back.
There she is.
okay. Commissioner Lindsay Sice, did we lose her again? You said she had indicated.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
She indicated that she approved. You indicated that you approved the minutes.
Yeah, Commissioner Sice approves the minutes.
Okay, so we have 12 of the 13 commissioners who were initially on the meeting who have.
Dr. Fair,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Gadet, and I approve as well.
Okay, all right. So now you have all of your commissioners in attendance approving.
Great. Okay, so the next thing is, what does the week look like for us, and what are our current tasks, and what are our tasks that are coming up as we prepare for this long week? It would be nice if you can show yourselves. I mean, at this point, you don't have to. We saw everybody at the beginning, but I like to put faces with names, and it's really hard to do that when you just see names on emails, especially that the newer members can see what the returning members look like. So there's a couple of things, and you've gotten some information over the last week, and we have been going through our current task, which is our very important of what we call screening the bid submissions. And that is when you have the bid proposal, so you know what the publishers are submitting for as part of their bid, and then you go to the Google site, so you have access to that, and you're checking to make sure that everything that's on the bid submission is on the Google site, that everything in the Google site is on the bid submission, because you can't have anything there that's not a part of the bid submission. And then you would make sure that the links work, that the key parts are there. There needs to be, they can have either a PDF, digital, or both versions. They can have a electronic platform or no platform, but everyone should have a correlation guide. And then the materials that they're submitting. So it's just making sure that the links work in the Google Sheet, how we have it organized and housed. And if there's any problems, if there's anything missing, if there's any links that are broken, if there's any websites that when you go to put in the username and password, it doesn't work, things like that, then you would indicate that on the digital checklist that you have. And also in an email I sent out last night, I made a Google form. You're housing your checklists in one spot, and everybody has individual sheets. And so it's going to be easier for me for the next 24 hours to be able to know who I haven't. I've already contacted some publishers for some things, but we need to contact everyone, and it's easier for me to go to one place. So that one place is going to be that Google form. There's a link. I tried to make it really simple. I kept the options the same as the headings on the publisher's sheet, and then you just check. So it's like a multiple choice, and you just go across the top whatever area, and then down the side it's what's wrong with it. Is it missing? It doesn't work.
Katie, this is Commissioner Sice.
Yeah.
There's actually an issue with the Google form.
Okay.
In the box where you have us choose what the issue is, it says that we have to make a choice for every single row.
Oh.
Yeah.
I will make that not required then.
Okay.
Because I think I have it required. And we'll see if that works. Commissioner Sice, when we finish, if you get a chance to check it out and let me know if that doesn't work. I have not done a Google form with that type of option. And so it could just be, I need to redo the option.
Just know that the 3 that I submitted to you, the actual reason was the links were broken, but I put it in the comments, but it made me pick every single option.
All right. Thank you. I will work on that when we get finished. So that is our big task, and that sounds overwhelming, but once you get into it, it's really an easier flow. And I explained the why in the email last night. That were we in a face-to-face setting before the publisher's presentation, we sign off on everything on a form on the checklist. You have the digital version of the checklist, and then 2 commission members sign it, and then the publisher signs it, and that's just documentation of what we have available to look at as we are going through the evaluation process. So that's the really big thing that's going on now. And if you haven't had a chance to complete it, then that needs to be in the morning before we start training. The advisors will be starting to access that information for their part after lunch, according to the way the schedule is for tomorrow. So we should complete all trainings and go into the breakout rooms, and then after lunch, the advisors will be accessing that. So I have a time for question and answering at the end, but my brain works that now is probably the best time for you to ask any questions that you have on that process, on just the screen of the bid submissions. So now's your time to ask. Okay. So that's our big task that we are currently undertaking. And so then the next thing would be tomorrow morning when we start our meeting, we start with training. And just an idea of what that looks like is we're all going to be in a Webex in a main room. And it's going to be general information shared with all the advisors at one time. We have some training on the platform for the advisors. We have some expectations for the work of the week to share with advisors, and that will be everyone will hear the same message. And then after those training, that whole group training ends, we'll have a break, and then we're going to break into the breakout rooms. More breakout rooms than we'll have when we actually get into advisor week. That will allow us for the first time ever to be able to simultaneously train people on their specific spreadsheet. In the past, if you were a CTE ag person, you would have had to listen to math and every other CTE explanation for the criteria sheets because it was all done in one big room. So this will allow us to narrow it down and give people what they need to get their work started. It should take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. And the commission members in the room will have a chance to introduce themselves to that room and set up again the expectations of the work for the week that was shared previously in the whole room. And then basically they go to lunch. When they come back, they start their work. So then that gets us to what that looks like for commission members. What I call day 1, 2, and 3. That's going to be Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday and Wednesday. That is when the advisors are actually in the materials. They have their criteria sheets. They're doing their standards review, and as they're doing that, you're present in the room to answer any questions with troubleshooting of the site of the bid submissions. If they can't find something or something's not working, then you're there to help aid them in that. Just remember that we have invited them to come and provide their expertise opinion in the submissions, and we're there to facilitate and support their process. And so that's why we need all hands on deck if possible. There's a lot of advisors coming in, and so we want at least one person in a room so that we have that instant ability to answer questions as they come up. That's the way we would be were we in a face-to-face situation, we would be in a room, physically in a room with the advisors. So if they had a question or a problem with anything, that we were there to help. As you go into that, I sent last night in an email an updated chart of every commission member and then every commission member has an assignment. So in that chart, to make it easier for commission members to concentrate. So when you're doing your bid submissions today, the screening, you'll do that. For instance, Commissioner Gadet, I know, is agriculture. So he's assigned to agriculture for the bid submission. So he's checked all the material. He's familiar kind of with it. Then he's going to be in the breakout room with the with the advisors for the ag submissions. So then he will be in the room with them. He already is familiar with the materials, and he can provide feedback as to the quality of the notes if the advisors are not answering all the questions or providing the evidence, because the way the criteria sheets are, that's part checklist and then there's a part for comments, and so we need them to provide comments that support what they've checked as agreeing or disagreeing or finding that it's there or that they can't find that it's there. So, and all this will make more sense once we're actually in the room and you get a chance to experience it for yourself. You will have in your access to your platform, and when I say the evaluation platform that the Quacks team has made for us, the advisors go in, they do their 2 parts. They have a part for the standards review when they're just looking at does it meet the standards, and then they have the criteria review, and you can see it live. So you will be, once there's actual advisors putting information in, you'll be able to see everyone's individual sheet, and as they go through it, they'll be saving, and we'll be reminding them to save, and you will be able to see their comments and see that they're putting in stuff, see that they're getting their work done. It starts out kind of slow as they kind of try to learn their way, and then they'll pick up their speed as they get more familiar with the materials and the actual sheets. So you can log in now, and if you haven't, I would advise you do that tonight. You have your login, you have a unique login, username and password. You actually have 2. You have one for CTE and you have one for math. So just want to point that out. Make sure that you realize that there are 2 separate usernames and passwords for the, we call it the evaluation platform, but it's where the forms are. And so you can see, not only can you see the advisors' work, what they're doing, then there's also, you will have access to a 3rd thing, which is like a summary of everybody. So if you've got 4 advisors and they've all 4 looked at this one submission, it'll give you the totals, that how many you've got that have actually looked at it in one place. So that's for the actual evaluation week. You also on that platform have other things that you need to do your report. So there's multiple things in that. If you haven't had a chance to get into that platform and to try it out, I would advise you do that tonight. And so then that way, if you have any questions tomorrow, you can ask. As we go through the week, you can also have opportunities to ask questions. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Like I said, Commissioner Gadet would be the example. He has ag, he would be in the ag room. He would be looking at the advisors that are doing the work for the ag submissions. He would have checked off the ag, and that lets you concentrate on just that one area. It'll allow you to get a good feel for what it looks like, what the components look like, and that will aid you, because once we leave evaluation week, you get to go and do that for every submission, all areas. And that always part of what we call your report. So the first 3 days, the advisors are working, you're in the room, and you're helping with troubleshooting any problems, kind of looking over, making sure they have their works in, that they're providing comments. And you can also yourself start looking at the materials at that time, like dig a little deeper and see what it looks like and what's there. So you can start your review at that time as well. Then the last 2 days, it's what we call debriefing. So you have the actual papers that the advisors are filling out digitally. You can access those files, and we pull all of the advisors for every area or every course together, and that's going to be back in the big room, and they will give us their impression. Just 1 or 2 key points, pros, cons, and just have a little dialogue. They'll report to us. Generally, I'm typing as fast as I can, trying to keep up with some of their rich things. You do have access to all of their comments, and so don't feel like you have to capture everything they say, because you still have access to everything that they've actually comments they've made, and they will have made a lot more in their forms than what they're actually going to have time to give us. And so that's Thursday and Friday. And other than it's a loose schedule, because it's really going to depend on who finishes the course first, will be who we debrief first. And that's going to depend on how many advisors, one, how many advisors that we have in that room, and two, how much materials there are and how many submissions that they have. Some areas have more and some have very few. And so that's the end of the week. Thursday and Friday is a public meeting, a hearing. As a hearing, we have to have quorum. If we do not have quorum, we cannot debrief the advisors. They still have their work. They will still continue working. We just will not be able to, as a commission, listen to their big points that they want to point out, pros and cons. So again, it's really important that we have at least 12 commission members present Thursday and Friday in order to be able to have those debriefing opportunities for the advisors. But should that not happen, we always have access to their written reports. Are there any questions about that? Because that's a lot of information in a short period of time. So I will say personally, as someone who this is my 16th year, so I get a lot of information myself in evaluation week. I get it gives me an opportunity to dig deeper and get my brain set in my report, because that is ultimately our call. Our call as a commission is that we all have the charge to submit what we call a report at the end of this cycle, which will be in July. That's the current date for our time to come back together. So we meet this week. We get our experts, the advisors, the people that have their boots in the trenches, that are in the field and are teaching our students. We have them from all across the state, big districts, small districts, charter schools, all spread out across the state. So we're getting input from everyone. And then we debrief them, and then they go, their time's finished. We leave and we go start our report. We come back together as a whole commission again in the end of July. We call that our deliberation and reconsideration. And it's called deliberation because you come in with your report and you have your impressions of the materials, what you found met, what you found didn't meet, your suggestions, your comments, and we discuss it as a commission, and then we vote individually to whether we recommend or we don't recommend that submission. So that's the deliberation part. After we vote, anyone that is not recommended, that the majority does not recommend for submission, those publishers have the opportunity to come back for the reconsideration and provide us with any information that we felt was lacking, that they think we might have missed. They have a chance to make a quick presentation to us, and then we re-vote, or we vote again. So that we would vote again on just those bids that are not approved on the first day. And before we leave that, at the end of that meeting, whether it be, if we have reconsiderations, it would be after the reconsideration period. We hit submit in that platform, our report, and then you are locked out of the platform. It's done, it's sent off. And so your individual report is part of a huge report that goes to the Board of Education. So the Board of Education, it all dumps into one huge report by alphabetical order of commission members, all of our notes and comments, all of our strengths and weaknesses, the reason why we recommended or made the choices that we made, how we voted. And that along with a general summary of the vote count. Like, this is the list of materials that the commission's recommending for approval for the adopted textbook list. And then at that point, it's up to the State Board of Education. It is their decision what is actually placed on the list. So they take our recommendation and they vote on whether to accept it or not to accept it. And then it becomes on the list. So that's the entire process. So from tomorrow until July, it sounds like a lot of work. It's doable as long as you pace yourself, and you spend some time to do it. And again, I know we've got 8 new members, and we are so glad to have you with us. Our work is important. It allows us to have vetted materials on a list that has been vetted for the standards and the criteria for the state, so that our students and our teachers have quality instructional materials for use in classrooms. So that is the big picture, the end result, and how we get there with this week's work, and how this week's work helps us with our ultimate call, which is that report. Everything up until this point is all been to organize for this week, and now the week is here. We dig and do the work, and the work ends when we vote in the end of July. Now, I think I've spoken a lot. If you have any questions, like, honestly, I would encourage you to ask now while we're all together.
So I have to get used to saying this is Commissioner Imbalia, and it's a lot of information. So as I'm going to speak as a newcomer from maybe the lens of I need visuals, as I'm trying to visualize what this report is that we're trying to execute at the end, which I know that will all come along, but you said open to all questions.
Yes,
so
yes.
I was being honest, I probably have 80,000, but that's the main one. It's like, what
the report looks like. The report from 2 years ago is public record, and so we could get a copy of it and you could see. It's when we did English language arts. That was the last thing we did. That may help you.
In terms of our individual notes, Commissioner Linker, do we have a template for that, or will we do that?
It's in the platform. There is a note-taking template in the platform. We vote through the platform, and we do basically our criteria sheet, and then we just make like pros. It's kind of like what worked well, what needs work on, my overall impression, and then those get dumped into the final report. It's the way the platform's set up. So you're typing, and they did include for the returning commission members, they did add spell check and grammar check. We didn't have that in the past, and so like I was doing it in a separate document to make sure that was right before, and then copying and pasting it into the platform, which is like a whole nother step. But there are, let's see, Dr. Fair, if you can let me share my screen. I have all that pulled up. The platform, that is.
Okay. Just making sure there's nothing I missed that I need to be doing.
Let's see. Platform. Yeah, I tried to open up all the tabs ahead of time just in case I'm a visual person too. That's why it really works better for me face to face. Although I will say I've adapted well to virtual. I am a visual learner. So let's see.
And yeah, I don't want to bog the group down with all my questions. I'll figure it out.
I can assure you, you are probably not the only one with those questions. All right, so share. Okay, what I have opened here, this is the platform. So you hear us, I don't know what happened on that. You hear us refer to the platform. This is the platform for CTE. So remember, we have 2 different links, and that information should be in a Google folder that Dr. Fair shared individually with every person, because in that Google folder, you have a document that has your username and your password for both of those platforms along with the link. So because it's unique to you. Then also in that Google folder is where you're going to upload your checklist for the screening of the bid submissions. So in CTE, these are the areas, or they're called program areas. So let's just say agriculture. So this is what it looks like for the advisors. They see this, the standards review. And let's hope that's the right password. And that might not be. And so that's what a sample. So there is a sample if you want to go and look at it. This is what you will see. They will be filling out a more detailed form. You will see if they say yes or no, it met this standard, and then you will see any comments that they have made will be here. And then you've got each standard across the top. So it's it can be a very long document across the top. And you'll have the advisor's name here. And so when you have 4 advisors, you would have 4 different rows and information in all the columns across. So that's your view of the standards review, which is just where they check for the standard alignment. Then then there's a criteria sheet. Again, this is the areas of the criteria sheet across the top. There's part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Then this one's really long. And then as advisors submit it, there'll be like this, instead of saying demo testing, it would have the advisor's name, and then it has they either say yes or no, and any comments. You'll also see in the content in part 1, there are 2 parts that the materials met the minimum of, and it says 50% of instructional indicators. That right there is actually aligned with that standards review I just showed you. And so it actually, if they say yes, it means after completing their standards review, they found that it met this part. And then, yes, does it meet the content and methodology? Yes or no. And then then they provide documentation. So when I've mentioned that when they're in the room and they're filling out their part and you're sitting at home or wherever you are with internet access, you can see what they're typing. And if you've noticed that advisor A has not put any comments and they're already finished with this, then the advisors that you would be working with, you would go back to that advisor and say, you know, we were looking at your bid. This is the bid number, and you didn't really provide documentation for your answer. So I need you to go back in and provide documentation to support the answers that you chose. And so that's also in, and then this, when I said there was a summary, this is the summary. And you'll see if they've said yes, that it met, you'll see the number there out of the total number of advisors. And that's, so this right here is the criteria sheet, what it looks like down the side. And we just have a tally view, so we can see how many said yes for each one out of how many that are assigned to that. And so that's in the platform, and that is up here at the top. So at the top you see your program areas. Then if you go down here, this is your stuff for your report. So you have your deliberation and an initial votes. That will not be open until we go to deliberation. So if you click on that, it's not going to do anything. Then if we have any reconsiderations, that's where we go. Again, that's not going to be open. We won't be able to do anything in it until we get to that week, which is in July. Here is a place right here. It says notes and comments for final report. And you hit me. They may not have it open yet. Dr. Fair, do you know if there's a reason why it's not working? I thought it was working when I checked. I was in math though.
No, I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything from the developer or from
So
Kenya.
what would happen is you would have the bid numbers here. So you would have it by bid number, and you would click on the bid number, and then it's like it has columns across the top, and it's like pros, cons, and that's not how it's worded. It's, you know, things that are well, things that need to be worked on, and then your overall impression. And you would just type. This is narrative. You're just typing. And then it takes, that's just where you can take your notes. Then your final report, it takes the platform, the program will take your notes and comments that you can't see because they're not here, but it'll take your notes that you made for each bid number, and it will dump them into what it calls the final report. And you say, and this is what, when I said it before we leave, you have to check that this is it. You check and you do your electronic signature, and when you submit it, it's gone and you're locked out of the platform. So this definitely is not activated yet, because if you click this now, then you're locked out of the platform. But this is where you would go to do your what I call your report. It's broken down by bid number, so it's really more manageable. And then the program that has been written for it takes that information and it formats it into the final report. And I will check with our quacks people and find out why that's not working. I was in it the other day in math. I know it worked. I thought it worked.
Commissioner Linker, it may be because we made the decision for the platform not to be available outside of the hours of evaluation week. And they may have already just cut it off, so that because they've given me login information for advisors. So they may have just cut it off so advisors couldn't get in there at this time.
And so that would be why. When you can get into it, if you have any questions, Dr. Fair and also the Quacks team are very helpful and will be able to answer like the logistics of how to do it. When you see it, it will be much easier.
It's a learn as you go process.
It is.
Much like teaching.
And so this is the site when we talked about where the bid submissions are, and you should have gotten this in an email. It's called the Digital Teaching and Learning Textbook Evaluation Site for Commissioners and Advisors. And so when you go to actually see the material, like if you want to see, when you go look at what was submitted by the publisher, it says mathematics and CTE. So if I click mathematics, you'll see that it's broken into the 5 courses. If I click Math 1, it is just the things for Math 1. When we talk about bid number, this is the bid number, and it is unique. Each publisher has a three letter, an alpha code, and then there's a number after it because they may have submitted multiple things. So the first thing would be this is the bid number, that is the course, that's the publisher's name, that's the title of their material. There's the ISBN number. You'll notice that you see this number multiple times because this correlates to the bid sheet, and Dr. Fair sent that, and that's also in the email that I sent last night. So for this particular one, you would have 1, 2, 3 different things listed in this on the submission, and then you're going to go across. So here's the PDF. If you click on that PDF, it should take you to a Google Drive where they have provided us with print resource. If that's blank, it's because they didn't, it's all digital, they didn't have a print resource. And then if you see, you have links to access any digital resources. So if they have a digital resource, that link would take you to their digital platform. Any login information is here. Sometimes they just gave us a generic username and password. And then as we saw today, sometimes there's like 10 usernames and passwords. That's totally up to the publishers to decide how they're going to provide access. Then you should have a place, we asked that they provide an instructional video or screencast. if not a PDF of how to navigate their material. So that's if it's the screencaster video, that's if they provided that navigation information in a PDF. And then the correlation is here. And every submission is required to have a correlation guide. And so in this case, that correlation guide, that link will take you to a Google Drive where you should find the correlation. And so this is where the actual materials are housed, the bid submissions in a digital platform. The previous, before this year, we would have been in a room, and in that room there would have been 2 copies of everything and 2 computers for access to digital, and the advisors would be pulling things down and going through it and putting them up, and you would be in the room. So now it's all digital, the submissions are digital, and you're virtually there for them if they have questions. And you would have also personally gotten everything that was submitted at your home or site of your designation. That was not required. We have access to this right here. That takes the place of you getting 25 pallets of materials to store for your evaluation process. So there's 2 parts to the process. We have the advisors give us their impressions, but as commission members, we still have to go in and look at it also. So that lets you have access to it, and the advisors will have access to it while we're evaluating. But after Friday, they will not have access to this any longer, and we will not have access to this any longer after the Board of Education makes their ruling. So does that answer some of your questions?
Sure. Yes.
So it will all make sense when you're in the moment. And if it doesn't, you can ask. Okay?
I will with the same smile, because that's just at the core of my soul.
It's really not as much. I mean, it is a lot of work, but it's not as bad as it seems possibly to you from the I've never done this point of view. And I think there's 2 or 3 commission members that have only had 1 cycle, although it was a in person and not a virtual. And I think, and there's some that have had at least 2 years. And I think they would probably agree with me that your first year, you're kind of learning everything. And after this year, which is not a typical normal year for anything, then it will make more sense as you go through the next 3 years of the appointment cycle. And just ask if you're not sure, if something doesn't work, or you go to click the links and they're not there, then just ask and say, hey, I've tried to go to this report and it's not making sense. I'm old school. I took notes myself. It made a lot more work for me. It depends on how tech savvy you are and how comfortable you are. I am happy that there is a spell check now in the platform, because that keeps me from feeling like I need to do it in a document that allows me to check all of that, because it is a public record and I don't want misspelled words or my grammar. It doesn't even have to be complete sentences. It can be a listing. So when you're making your pros and your neat areas to improve, you can bullet it. It doesn't have to be narrative.
Perfect. Well, I will tell you, I will do my best to represent that student in the class that feels like nobody's asking a question. Should I ask, and should I be embarrassed? I try to always live in that space, because that's a hard space. But if you don't ask, then you never know.
So I have a quick question. This is Commissioner Blue. I just want to make sure that I'm clear about for what you guys need by tomorrow. You want everything checked in for whatever area you're assigned, any issues indicated in the form, and then the checklist document uploaded to the individual commissioner's Google folder. Is that right?
And new commissioners are charged to do that as well. Brand new.
Commissioner Linker, you're muted. This is Commissioner Gadet. Sorry about that.
Sorry. We need 2 eyes on everything. That's the procedure for the past. And normally that would have happened this morning. So like if we were in the normal face-to-face place, we would have started at 8 o'clock this morning, checking in all these materials before the publishers presented it to, or usually it's at 1, because we usually have a lunch break. Everything has to be there. We have to check them off, everything has to be fixed, and then before we have their presentations. So that would have happened this morning. It would have just happened, you would have been pulling lots of material, looking through crates and of material and checking off that everything's there. It's really, in my opinion, easier to do it this way because you're just checking links and you're looking. You do need to look and make sure if it's a PDF of a text that is the entire text. I don't think anyone would purposely put up something that didn't work, but you know, mistakes happen. And so if it's a PDF of what the textbook, a traditional textbook would look like, you just need to make sure, like I just went to the end and made sure there was an appendices because all books have an appendices at the end. And then basically the links work. Start trying to log into the website to make sure that the password works. I will say I didn't see any, and based on the presentations today, I don't think there is any, but there should never be any way that personal information is collected. So you know, just things like that. That's why they provided some generic passwords and usernames.
This is Commissioner Baldwin. I think along with everybody else with being new, it was a lot of emails that came all at one time. And so I think I do believe it'll get easier once we're in there, but I think that is sort of like what the question is it exactly with being new, what exactly do we do? And you've explained it, and I know you keep saying it, but like when we get off of here, like what do we go to first? Because I have like the site that you just pulled up, I had that pulled up earlier, but I'm still unsure of, like I saw the bid sheets, like I saw those, but where do we go to see that and to look at that bid? It's just a lot of different
Right.
things.
So first of all, you only need to worry about the room you're assigned to.
Okay.
So at the bottom of the email last night, like I put your name and then what area you're assigned to. So you would go to I don't remember what you're assigned to.
I'm computer technology. I saw the room I was assigned to. Go to the CTE textbook portion.
And I'm going to try to share my screen again and I will show you. I don't have the bid sheets pulled up. I have the email pulled up, but I don't have the bid sheets pulled up.
This is Commissioner Jimenez. So like I've already gone through that whole section and done a bid sheet for every single publisher in that group. So if the other two that are assigned to that, they can split it in half. So they're just getting a fill and not feel like they need to go through all of it before tomorrow.
Okay.
Trying to think about the easiest way to do this. I need to close out the platform stuff because we don't need the platform stuff to look at the other. Just give me a minute and I'll pull up the bid sheets because I've got them downloaded on my computer.
Yes, Commissioner Linker, just like Commissioner Baldwin, I had all the different sites up. So I think the clarifying question is what the exact charge is and what needs to be by 8 a.m. And if new commissioners are charged to do all the assignments in their bucket as more seasoned commissioners.
So yes, you would be because were we face to face, you would be. The plus is that you didn't have to check in everything like you would have if it had showed up at your door. So we had to do two things. You had to make sure you had everything personally, and then in that site that the advisors had everything that was needed. But since we're all sharing the same site, we were able to say, then just concentrate on your room and not worry about physically seeing that everything else works, because by dividing amongst the commission team, then everything should work. So when you go to do your review, you should have everything there. Does that make sense? So yes, you would have to, because you would have to were we face to face. And I totally understand the turnaround time for you guys has been tight. It's out of my control, but I apologize. I hope that you guys kind of had an idea of what you were coming into before. And I know that you've been bombarded in a week with, different things that had to happen to catch you up with the meetings that we really haven't had, because we haven't had quorum for the last couple months. So we already have one set of eyes on almost everything. It's just to get as much as we can to make sure that it's working, and that I have the information so that I can contact the publishers, because they need to make sure it's there. Because basically, if we can't see it, we can't review it. So if they, in their bid list, which I can't show the bid list because this is a public hearing, it's a confidential document. But if you pull up the bid list, then it has all the components. So what is the bid list? The publishers have a call. They know the criteria. They know they have the spreadsheets as in the invitation. They know the standards, and they decide what they want to package together to present to the state for consideration. And then that's what they put in their bid sheet. They say, Mickey Mouse publisher says it's going to take these 3 parts of my program to make Math 1. Here's what I think will meet the criteria, because ultimately they would like to be on the list. And then we go through, and using what they've chosen to provide, that's what we evaluate. If something's missing, if they said there's 3 things, but I'm only going to give you 2, then it's like that 3rd thing does not exist. So if that 3rd thing was necessary to make the standards review, if you can't see it, you can't say that it's there. It may say it's there in the correlation guide. You have to see it. You have to see the material. Does that make sense? So that's why it's really important that everything's there and works, and that they provide it if it's not provided. I will say this whole virtual thing is new to all of us, because we're used to doing it face to face, those of us that have done it in the past, and having all the material there on site. So that's kind of where that is. So the spreadsheet is very detailed, but everything that's on the spreadsheet should be on that Google site. If there's 3 lines on the bid sheet for the one submission number, there's usually going to be 3 rows on the website, and you're making sure basically that there is a PDF and or a digital material of the textbook, that if it's digital material access to their platform, that they're providing a password, and that they have if they do a PDF, that it's a complete PDF of their textbook or their text or their whatever the material is. It could be pictures of something. If they're not providing a link and it's a digital link, the correlation guide is required. So every publisher should have a correlation guide. And so those are the things you're looking for. If you say it's going to have this book, this and this web access, and this on the web access, then I'm going to click this link and I'm going to go to the web access, and it's going to give me access. I can just kind of look and see, yes, it looks like everything's there and it works, and then you're good. It really does not take as long as it did when we were in face-to-face. That I promise you. I mean, Commissioner Sykes can tell you she did another area last night, and she'd already done in one area. So she's actually filled. We're trying to fill in the holes now, make sure everybody has at least one eye. And so, not to bog you, the new commissions. So just get what you can get done. We really need 2. We've got 1 on everything, but we really prefer to have 2, because I could miss something you might find. So, meanwhile, what you need to do, I pulled up the bid sheet. I can't show the bid sheet though. So if I'm looking at ag education, and I'm looking at one bid, and you're looking at, it has the title, and so you look down the title, and if there's like 3 titles on the website, there should be, those 3 titles should be either in PDF form, digital access, or both. And if you can't find something, then put in the Google form, I can't find it. Like, I couldn't find the correlation guide. I clicked and it didn't look like a correlation guide to me, or it didn't provide a print or digital. I don't think that's the case, but then you would just say on that Google form, I couldn't find this, or this didn't work, and then I'll contact the publishers and say, hey, we're not finding that this works, and then they'll adjust it.
Commissioner Linker, I'll jump in here for a second and simplify things because my brain works that way too. Like I need a step one, what do I do? Step two, what do I do? So if you go to the email from Commissioner Linker that she sent last night, in the middle of her email, it says this link. I think it says use this link, and it's highlighted in blue as a hyperlink. If you click that, it takes you to the Google site. So all that you have to do between now and 8 a.m. is go through that site for your assigned room and complete the bid sheet that she's linked to that email down at the bottom. So step one, log into that Google site and review your area. Step two, complete the bid sheets for those areas and upload them into your folder. That's it. That's all you need to do before 8 a.m. Does that help?
Yes. So we just put those sheets into our folder. That's it for each one that we look at, as much as we can accomplish in our designated area to get 2 viewers on each thing.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And I promise, once this is my fourth year on the commission, so I did have a couple of years under my belt face to face, and I will tell you, doing it this way is much more complicated, much more intricate, I think, and maybe it's just because I got used to the other way. But logging in the morning and going through the directions with the advisors will actually clarify a lot for you too. As we're talking to advisors and explaining their job and their role, those light bulbs will go off for you. So you're just facilitating those rooms, really. The advisors are going to do the work this week. We're just facilitating their work.
And speaking of that, this is Commissioner Austin, and I have a question about our breakout rooms. It looks like that the math is going to have a hard time being covered due to summer schools happening. Is there a way that we need to communicate with people over the week when we are not going to have anybody that's able to be in the room? How would you like for us to handle that?
You mean that when the commission members were not going to be in the room? So the backup plan to that is that there'll be at least one commissioner could have 2 rooms, and there will be a chat for the advisors to be able to chat only with Dr. Fair. And if they need help and there's not a commission member in that room, they will communicate to Dr. Fair that they need assistance. She'll get the commission member and say, hey, you need to go back to this room. And then we go back. So not knowing, which thank you, Laura, that gets me to my next thing. Like, I really need you guys to let me know if you know you can't come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's not a judgment thing. It just, in my brain, I have everybody assigned to a room. But if I know there's not going to be somebody there, I know there's a couple people on the commission who are principals or coaches, and they do have to be in and out of summer school, and they're going to try to pop in as much as they can. So I understand that, and that's great. I encourage you to do that if you can. But if you know that you're not going to be there one day, then if you can just say, hey, I know I'm not going to be there on Tuesday because I have something I have to do at school. And then I know how many commission members might be there before we get into it. But I do have a backup plan. I've got another column that's assigned. The ones I know can be there all week that have said I can't be there all week every day. They have 2 possible rooms. I will say math is one thing, because I know between you and Commissioner Hester, I know you two are both up. You both are in it, and you both might be in or out. And so I'm probably going to be the 3rd person to try to be in and out in case there is an incoming commissioner assigned to rooms as well, but in case they have a question and they need assistance. So like before, when we did it face to face in a room, we had 2 or 3 commission members. One commission member, usually the more experienced one, would be what I call the lead, Not that anybody's over anybody, but that would be the one person that would come to the chair and the co-chair and Dr. Fair if there was a problem with that the publisher needed to be contacted. So like if you were on site and all of a sudden the publisher's website went down and it wasn't working, then that one point person is the one who would come to either myself when I was the co-chair, when I am the co-chair, or the chairperson, or Dr. Fair, and say this is not working, and then we contact the publisher and say this is not working, and they get it fixed, or we troubleshoot. So there is at least one returning commissioner in a room, and there's one, sometimes two new commission members in the room. Just so we know that way everybody's not coming out and asking the same question. So then that point person will come out and then go back, and then they'll have it fixed. Logistically, we have planned and replanned. So I think it's going to be okay as long as we have some manpower. My big thing is, someone put it like this, and I thought it made sense. Advisors are guests in our home. This is our home. We've invited them in. They are our guests, and you wouldn't tell a visitor, a guest in your home, hey, there's my home, see you later, and leave. So we really need to be there so that we can help facilitate their work and support their work. And those 3 days, they have a lot, and they really have a lot because of summer school. We have advisors, but we may not have the full amount that we originally wanted to have.
Mentioning such, Commissioner Linker, are we expected to be there right at 8 a.m. in the morning?
Tomorrow morning?
Well, throughout the duration of Monday,
So
Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, tomorrow it's 8. The Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, it's 8 for the room, Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, we have deliberation starting at 9, and that gives us a chance to like check the rooms, because when we start deliberating, there won't be anybody in the room. So there will be a member of the DPI team there to come find us if there's something we need to go in. And that's why we did it in face-to-face. We just had the advisors come to the door and open the door and like motion at us, and then one of us would go out and see what they needed. Because when we stop to debrief, they're still working. We're only debriefing the ones that are finished. So we said for those 2 days, Thursday and Friday, 9 o'clock would be when we would need to be in the meeting in the room to start debriefing. But we need to check the rooms before. 8 a.m. is when we need to start. That's when the rooms will be open. That's when the platform will be available. Dr. Fair had mentioned that we possibly couldn't see. The reason I couldn't open anything is because it is not that window. So from 8 to 5 is the only time the Google site and the platform will be available and open for advisors to work. It closes at 5 o'clock. And it'll open back up by 8 o'clock the next morning. I know that probably didn't answer. I'm going to be there at 8 o'clock every morning.
And that includes tomorrow morning?
Yeah, tomorrow we start our meeting at 8 o'clock. Dr. Wren is going to do a welcoming, and then we're going to start.
Thank you.
So our work week is 8 to 5 all week, but the actual deliberation, those 2 days, the debriefings, those 2 days the debriefing will not start till 9. And sometimes the debriefing can go over, because if we're in the middle of debriefing somebody or a group and it's 5 o'clock, we're not going to stop. We're going to finish debriefing.
Commissioner Linker, this is Commissioner Autry. Has a finalized list of advisors been shared with us so that we can do attendance and things like that?
I don't think so.
This is Carmela. No, it has not been. We are still reaching out and waiting to hear back from a few advisors. There were a lot of declines based on summer school, and that came through like Friday. some of the additional declines. So we reached out. Commissioner Linker had to go back into the original spreadsheet and try to see if she could designate some other people that I could reach out to cover those courses. And so I did that on Friday, and I'm actually emailing and back and forth right now, trying to see how many people have accepted and how many are not able to accept. So once I have finished going through all of that, I can update the original and then make that available to you all in your folder.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Fair.
So do we have any other questions? I understand it's been a lot of information in an hour and 20 minutes. If you think of anything, tomorrow is a public meeting, and so we can discuss matters. And so like at the end of the day, we could have a Q&A session. So that as you're in the room, before we go live, we could meet like over lunch. No, we can't do that. We have to follow for transparency purposes. We are a public body and we have to follow the rules that govern public meetings. And so if 2 or more of us are together discussing business, it's technically a public hearing, which requires 12 people to be there to have the public hearing. So if you have questions, I know I have time. We put time on Thursday and Friday at the end of that day for Q&A. Just to allow, because we are in a public meeting and we are at a body, and we can, after debriefing, have a chance to ask questions. I'll see if we can do any time before then. But remember, you can always ask Dr. Fair, and then she can get an answer. If anything occurs that's like really troubling or concerning or confusing, I'm sure a lot of it's confusing right now. I promise, when you get into it, it will not be that bad. It's not experiencing it, and even we have not experienced it this way. Those of us that are returning, this is new for us as well. So I think we've planned for everything, and we have a backup plan for everything, but we will get through it, and it's going to be awesome. And I really am appreciative of, especially of the new commission members who just popped on and in a week have had to acclimate to what we've had since January to learn. So, are there any other questions? Everybody has that deer in the headlight look. I'm a talker in case you guys haven't figured that out yet. So, I think with that, because it's a public meeting, we have to have a motion to adjourn, and then we have to have someone second that motion to adjourn. And then Dr. Fair will again go through the roll call and call everyone's name, and then you will say yes or no, you agree to adjourn. Oh, I got to do something. I'm sorry. This is very important. We need to elect our chair. And so that's the last order of business, to elect the chair. And I have someone I want to nominate. And then if anybody else has anyone you want to nominate, please do so. I would like to recognize Dr. McLean. She is our superintendent representative on the board, and she is just joining us in the last couple of weeks. She was appointed about a month ago. And as a superintendent, she has knowledge and experience that I feel like the commission needs. And so I would like to nominate Dr. McLean to be the chairperson for the commission for the next 4 years. So Dr. McLean, are you accepting of my nomination?
Well, I will do my very best. I'll tell you, the first order of business will be to get through tonight. That's for sure, but I'll do my very best.
Well, thank you. Do we have any other recommendations or I should say nominations? As if not, I think we need to have a vote. So we would need to have a motion to vote on the chairperson and then a second, and then right now we just have Dr. McLean.
Commissioner Linker, this is Commissioner Gadet, and I move that Dr. Lisa McLean will be the chairperson for the next 4 years for the textbook commission.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Commissioner Baldwin. I second the motion.
So that would, Commissioner Baldwin made, seconded the motion. So Dr. Fair, if you can go through and have our vote through the roll call.
All right. Commissioner Laura Austin.
Commissioner Austin approves.
Commissioner Jody Ray Autry.
Commissioner Autry approves.
Commissioner Ricky Baldwin.
Commissioner Baldwin approves.
Commissioner Marlena Blue. Commissioner Blue, Marlena Blue. Commissioner Edward Coggins.
Commissioner Coggins approves.
Commissioner Aubrey Gadet.
Commissioner Gadet approves.
Commissioner Hannah Jimenez.
Commissioner Jimenez approves.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Linker approves.
Commissioner Mallory Imbalia.
Commissioner Imbalia approves.
Commissioner Elisa McLean.
Should I participate in this vote?
I apologize. Commissioner Rob Oral.
Commissioner Oral approves.
Commissioner Elisa Ray.
Commissioner Ray approves.
Commissioner Lindsay Sice. Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
We might have lost her. I know she's driving. I
Okay.
see she's there, but I don't see the mic.
Okay. What about Commissioner Marlena Blue?
I see that she's on.
Yeah, Commissioner Blue approves. I couldn't get unmuted for some reason.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have 11 yeses and then no vote from Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Okay, so then it is official. Dr. McLean will be the chairperson of our commission. Thank you, Dr. McLean. I look forward to working with you in the next week, jumping in head first, huh? So now, I think before we do a motion to adjourn the meeting, just if you know that you're not going to be able to attend a day, all days, whatever works for your schedule, I need you to let me know. Just everyone should have my email from last night. If you just reply to me, you don't have to tell everybody that the days that you know you're not going to be able to make it, so then I can in my brain kind of figure out if we need to do the one commissioner over 2 rooms. So having said that, if anyone would like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Yes. Dr. McLean, are you making the motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay.
Motion to
So
adjourn.
Dr. McLean has made the motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Gadet seconds.
And so Dr. Fair, if you can go through the roll call to get our vote.
Commissioner Laura Austin.
Commissioner Austin approves to adjourn.
Commissioner Jody Ray Autry.
Commissioner Autry approved to adjourn.
Commissioner Ricky Baldwin.
Commissioner Baldwin approves to adjourn.
Commissioner Marlena Blue. Commissioner Blue. Okay.
My apologies. Commissioner Blue approves to adjourn.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Edward Coggins.
Commissioner Coggins approves.
Okay. Commissioner Aubrey Gadet.
Commissioner Gadet approves.
Commissioner Hannah Jimenez.
Commissioner Jimenez approves.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Linker approve.
Commissioner Mallory Imbalia.
Commissioner Imbalia approves.
Commissioner Elisa McLean.
Commissioner McLean approves.
Okay. Commissioner Rob Oral.
Commissioner Oral approves.
Commissioner Alicia Ray.
Commissioner Ray approves.
And Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Commissioner Sice approves.
All right, very good. You have all 13 members who are present have approved to adjourn.
Okay, and thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.